Altavista High School. It's time for Colonels football on 105.5 KD Country. Playoff Colonels football, in fact. Thank you for joining us for the first round of the VHSL playoffs, a time that, we've been waiting for about 10 weeks or so now, Oscar Briggs. How are you tonight, sir, on this chilly November evening?
Chilly November evening, but it feels like football tonight. It's cold here, about 35 degrees, wind blowing a little bit, flag stretched out from the ladder of the Altavista Fire ladder truck, and the fan turnout's kind of low right now. It is a little bit early, 30 minutes before kickoff, but looks like it's going to be a light crowd tonight.
Well, maybe the weather keeping some folks away, rather, I should say, and perhaps the matchup keeping some folks away. It is the playoffs, and we are entertaining a 4-6 West Point Pointers team. Yes, West Point's mascot, the Pointers, in town here to take on the Altavista Colonels. And like I said, 4-6 on paper. It looks like Altavista, has the talent to win this game, Oscar, but I know it sounds cliche. The game's not played on paper, especially when you get in the playoffs.
Well, that's right. And I think, we talk about the light fan turnout. This is a number 2 seed against a number 15 seed, Kyle. Sure. And last year, the same type seeding took place. A Northumberland team came in from down in the eastern part of the state, and it was ugly, and it was ugly quick. I think Altavista scored on 6 of their first 7 plays. Something ridiculous like that. Running clock. The coach from Northumberland went to the officiating crew midway through the second quarter and said, "Mercy, can we use a running clock?" And they both agreed, and the route was on quickly.
Yeah, and some of that was due to Altavista obviously being so good, and then some of it due to the new playoff format. I say new. It's been going on for about 4 years now in single A. A lot more teams getting in, so sometimes you get those teams that are maybe in a position where, hey, we just rather have our season be over with. We'll see what kind of game plan and what kind of fight West Point brings to the table tonight. I will say, and we'll touch on it a little bit later, Oscar, as you know, hampered by injuries a little bit is West Point, so that's going to deplete them of some of their talent that they might need in order to pull off the upset here tonight. But you never know. That's why they play the game. Coach Mike Sharness will talk about that and a whole lot more on the Subway pregame show. Subway in Altavista, 2 great locations, Main Street and then also inside the Walmart on Clarion Road. Football fans can always eat fresh. And, of course, the new big hot pastrami melt. Oscar had that last week, said it was very good. Throw a little mayonnaise and mustard, some pickles on there. Feel like you're on, like, the streets of New York City before you know it. Hey, the weather feels like New York City out here, but if you've got us tuned in, you're probably in the comfort of your home or your car, so you got the heat cranked up good. You know what's going on here tonight. Playoff football, the Altavista Colonels taking on the West Point Pointers. Let's hear from the head coach, Mike Sharness, after this timeout on 105.5 KD Country.
You can buy paint from any old yahoo who knows nothing about paint in one of those big box stores. For quality paint from people who really know paint, it's Davis Paints from your complete home center, English's. Davis Paints, which has been known for quality since 1921, is not just sold anywhere. Visit the new paint room at English's, your authorized Davis Paint dealer.
English's is your complete home center.
On North Main Street, Altavista.
A short drive will save you money.
In the market for a new Chevrolet? Fellers Chevrolet.
FellersDirect.com.
For a huge selection of new Chevrolets and pre-owned vehicles, it's Fellers Chevrolet.
FellersDirect.com.
FellersDirect.com. Selection. Convenience. Fellers Chevrolet.
Fellers Chevrolet.
Always open and only a click away.
FellersDirect.com. A short drive will save you money. Fellers Chevrolet in Altavista.
In the past century, our community has grown, and Finch & Finch Funeral and Cremation Service has grown too, alongside the families they've known for so long. Finch & Finch is proud to have served you over 100 years. A family business, Finch & Finch Funeral and Cremation Service, dedicated to your service.
Finch & Finch Funeral Homes. We're here because we care.
Your home for Colonel sports coverage. 105.5 KD Country.
Back here on the Subway pregame show. Altavista Colonels getting set for the VHSL playoffs. First round begins here tonight in Altavista. And we're talking with the head coach, Mike Sharness. And Coach Sharness, before we get to this first round playoff action, let's discuss a little bit of your last regular season game last week. You beat the William Campbell Generals 50-14 in Naruna, and it was another one of those games that was somewhat close at the beginning. You guys really pulled away their second quarter and on. Is that just a case of your talent begins to shine through, cream rising to the top eventually, sort of thing?
Yeah, I think we're ready to play. Number one, I'm always not concerned, but this every ball game we played here lately, just to make sure that we're focused and ready to go. And I wasn't quite sure with pregame, the way we were in pregame, but we played. I thought we played the way we have all year, experience-wise, and not many mistakes on offense and good defense. Yeah, whether the score is 14-7, we're one play away in the end zone of them not scoring, and we play great defense and big plays on offense. Yeah, it's been the same story, but I thought we played real well, concentrating and focusing in this 10th game and going on the away field, and I thought it was a good trip for us.
Yeah, and you mentioned at other times in this pregame show, the season really is a marathon, not a sprint. We're in the playoffs now, but the playoffs now has the potential to be up to 5 games if you keep winning, which is half as long as a 10-game regular season. So it does end up being a marathon. Are you happy with where your conditioning is at? And I know you're happy with the fact that you've stayed relatively injury-free, but you feel like this team is ready for another long haul here in the playoffs?
Yeah, I hope so. That's the obvious answer. I hope so. And you just can't experience. You can't. It's pretty good stuff when you got the number of guys that we have that have playing experience and have played since their freshman year. A good number of them. Some played since their 3 years as sophomores. Some number of them in 4 years, and it shows. It tells in practice. And I like where we're at. We got a number 2 seed. It would have been better if we're number 1, but there's nothing that we could have done about it. The kids did all they could do, win all their football games in the regular season to prepare for the playoffs. So, yeah, we like where we're at. We like how we're playing football. We've played some running teams, which I kind of like it, as opposed to some spread, throw it around a bunch. We played some teams that are trying to be physical with us because that's what we're going to see when it gets down to crunch time in the playoffs.
Yeah, you've always mentioned that the battle in the trenches becomes even more important in the playoffs. And one of the reasons you're so good in the trenches is the help of your assistant coaches. And we talked about the JV and the B team guys last week. Good time now with the playoffs starting to run down the rest of your coaching staff.
Yeah, we'll start right there with the offensive line and defensive line. Dave Close has been here 8 years with myself. And actually, we coached a good number of years at Rustburg together. Does a great job with the offensive linemen, and has taken a group right now that's somewhat inexperienced. We have a little bit of experience coming back. And this second half of the year into the third quarter of the year, these guys started blending, coming together, and they're starting to play some pretty good football. We changed personnel around a little bit, and they're starting to be very confident. Anytime they're up on the line of scrimmage talking to each other in regard to communication, in regard to who they're blocking, and that's a sign of confidence, and they're doing that. So he does a great job. Mike Revis is our defensive coordinator. Same thing. Rev has been here 8 years and was with us at Rustburg for a good number of years. I think Dave, Rev, and I have coached 17, 18 years together. It's a long time. It's good times too. We know each other inside and out football-wise, and it helps in our coaching. Yeah, he's meticulous with his work that he does with the defense or with the running backs. He coaches the running backs on offense, and he's going to pick everything that he can, fine-tune every little hair, that's there, which is a tribute to him, breaking things down like he does. And Cliff Lee is our receiver coach, DB coach. He's an Altavista guy. We call him the mayor. I call him the mayor. He knows everyone. He definitely is one I go to find out about different stuff in regard to Altavista. But Cliff's been with the Colonels for a long time, and it's kind of neat to have a guy like that on staff that can really, truly appreciate everything, the good times, because he certainly has been through some bad times, I'm sure, and has been through these good times here. So he does a great job with the kids, But overall, we love a coaching staff. They do a great job, work hard, for not much money. It's always been the case in coaching. Yeah, that's what you do. You work hard. You don't make much money. You love working with kids, and that's the number one thing there is working with the kids.
Yeah, and one of the things that I like about you and your staff, and maybe some people can't tell it just from watching you on the sidelines during the games, because you're pretty even keel, obviously, but you guys have fun, and that's I think that's a big part of it. I think it seems like, even after all these years, not to call you old or anything, but you've been at it for a little while, seems like you're still having just as much fun as you used to 10 or 20 years ago, right?
Did you say something about me being old? Did you say something about
No, I didn't. I said your experience.
It's fun when you're winning, and we're winning. I've been on the other side when you're losing. It's not fun. That's in a lot of things in life that turns out like that. But we try to get the kids to work hard, have fun. Yes. Prepare them for life after high school and try to teach them different things that they're going to. That's life, That's the neat thing about coaching, that we have not the ability, but it's right in front of us. You got young kids that we try to mold. You try to mold and get ready for what's going to happen down the road, and and that's what our staff does. Everyone's got their different ways of doing it, and it's pretty good, and it helps when you're winning football games. It does. Team morale is great, and but there's you got to learn when you do lose. How to handle that and that kind of stuff.
Well, hopefully that doesn't happen tonight. Get things back on track here. Talking about the West Point Pointers, who are in town on the Subway pregame show. You heard that right, the West Point Pointers, and if you're a big-time Altavista fan, you know West Point. The basketball team beat them in the state championship a year or two ago, and then you guys had that great game back in 2009 with them in the state semifinals, that Mud Bowl game. Long time removed from that, but still a good football team. Only have 4 wins, but tell us a little bit about West Point as they come in here tonight.
Yeah, I think the first thing we've got to do against West Point is be physical. I mean, that's probably a statement every football coach makes, but I'm not sure if the brand of football that they play down at their neck of the woods is similar to ours. So we've really got to get after them quick and early with a physical style, which is what we try to play every game. They're going to run a different look on offense. It's not a spread, it's a shotgun, but they've got a number of 1 or 2. It's almost like a single wing look, but it's not all the way like a single wing. They've got some good athletes that can move around, and I just think being physical is going to be the number one priority we want to have in this football game.
Final thought here in the Subway pregame show as we get ready for kickoff. It's a little bit colder tonight, but it's not so cold that it's going to affect anything too much. Might affect your kicking game just a little bit, but is the main key tonight, like you said, being physical, but also not overlooking West Point? Because, again, only 4 wins. It's a ball club that on paper you got them overmatched, but as we all know, you don't play the game on paper.
With us winning this year like we've won, that's always a concern or something we talk about is respecting your opponent, not overlooking people, and that's what this group does. They and I've said this before, they love to compete, they love to play hard, they love to hit, and that's what we're going to do tonight. They're going to come out and they want to have fun. They do. They've got big things, and they got plans, big plans. They know what course that takes.
Big things start tonight. First round of the playoffs gets underway. In about 20 minutes, you'll hear all the action live on 105.5 KD Country.
English is so much more. English is more than a hardware store. English is.
My friends may call me the perfectionist, but at English's Building Supply, my neighborhood Davis paint dealer, they greet me by name. You see, I like to get things done exactly right, especially when it comes to my many painting projects. So I'm at English's Building Supply a lot, whether it's mixing the perfect Davis paint for my project or offering great incentives. They do business just the way I like it. Perfectly. English's on North Main Street, Altavista.
This month's specials from your area Apple Market convenience stores. Hickory smoked sausage biscuits, 2 for $2.20. That's a good deal. Large coffee and fresh baked donut or Mrs. Freshly snack cake, just $1.99. And all meat jumbo hot dogs and a 32-ounce drink and chips for $2.99. Slim Jim Giant Sticks 2 for $2 at the Apple Market convenience stores Riverside, Gateway, Main Street, and Altavista. You know what they say, stop by an Apple today.
Good food, low prices, and great service keep customers coming back for more day after day at El Cazador Mexican Restaurant in Altavista. El Cazador is now open all afternoon, so you can come by anytime, any day, 11 a.m. till 10 p.m. El Cazador Mexican Restaurant, a great place to unwind and relax with friends. Open 7 days a week, Main Street, Altavista. El Cazador thanks you for your business.
Your station for high school sports play-by-play is 105.5 KD Country.
Colonels and Pointers set to tee it up here. Kickoff about 13 minutes away. You're tuned into the Subway pregame show. Subway, eat fresh. It's always easy for football fans to eat fresh in Subway. Subway's in Altavista, Oscar, and you can start fresh this fall with the Subway Fresh Fit Choices. Smart and tasty choices make fall the perfect time to start fresh. Hope we didn't just skip right over fall and go to the winter time season. I always said, Oscar, this time, in the time in between Halloween and Thanksgiving, very underrated time of the year. You got the good weather, you got playoff football, you got basketball and wrestling and those sort of things starting up. I'm telling you, it's a nice time to be a sports fan.
Yeah, you're rolling into rivalry weekend and college football. You're right. It is a fun time. Other than the cold weather puts a hamper on your golf game.
It does. Yeah. Usually you get up to about 50 or 60 during the day. You can still hit the links. Maybe not so much this weekend. And it is West Point in town here tonight. First round BHSL Division A, Group A. What are we calling it nowadays? 1A, Single A?
Single A.
We'll call it Single A football. East Region, we do know that, and West Point over from the eastern part of the state there, east of Richmond. Around Williamsburg, and we know we've got some fans tuned in from West Point, so big thank you to you folks for taking us with you here to hear the game. A few West Point fans look like they've made the trip, Oscar, but not too many on a cold night like tonight. A long drive for them, but let's reminisce, if we could, just for a little bit about that 2009 playoff game. State semifinal was here. Of course, the Colonels were in the playoffs for the first time in a long time, and West Point came to town, a very rough and ready West Point Pointers team that day, and the field conditions were a big part of that story as well, as the field was caked in mud and water. We had some storms and even some snow, and that was turned out to be one of the all-time great moments in Colonel sports history, I think.
Boy, and when you go into the weight room in Altavista, there are several pictures that glorify, if you will, that weekend and that football game. It's like you said, first state championship in football, and for 2009, obviously, and really a turning moment for the program.
Yeah, I think it was. Altavista had a couple close games in the first two rounds, as did West Point, coincidentally, and those two teams matched up, and they had obviously they both had big playoff aspirations. Altavista came away with the 14-6 win, and you and I were talking to Coach Sharness there before the game in the weight room, and he's not very much of a nostalgia guy. He's not a history buff. He likes to focus on the game at hand or the next game. But even he looked like he was pretty proud of that win over West Point in that Mud Bowl, because, like you said, they had the pictures up in the weight room, and I think it's one that, like I said, a lot of Colonel fans probably remember that one.
I totally agree, and that brings us to tonight. West Point comes in 4-6, and as you alluded to in the little teaser before we went to break, is that they're wounded. They are going to be without Montel Allen and A.J. Jones tonight, two of their preeminent offensive players due to injury. So it's going to be interesting.
It is going to be interesting. I counted 21 Pointers dressed for the visiting team tonight. We'll step aside for a moment to do the national anthem and come back and talk a little bit more about this one. West Point and Altavista set to kick off in about 9 minutes on 105.5 KD Country.
Virginia's oldest and most experienced bus company, Sonny Merriman Incorporated, along with their employees and families, joined together to congratulate the Altavista High School athletic teams for their outstanding fall seasons. Sonny Merriman wishes you the best in the playoffs and your quest to bring home more state championship trophies to our community. Go Colonels and make us proud. Sonny Merriman Incorporated.
English Construction Company has been in the building business since 1909, so it's only natural that they appreciate the building process. They recognize the fact that organized sports programs build character as well as bodies and minds. They know that high school sports build our youth into more well-rounded and more productive adults. English Construction Company is proud to be a sponsor of high school sports and salute all athletes, coaches, and teachers. A word of praise and encouragement from English Construction Company with offices in Lynchburg.
No one knows trucks like we know trucks. Come see us and you'll agree. From small to tall, we've got it all. Highview Motors, GMC. Come on in. Bring the family. See your friends at Highview Motors. Highview Motors, GMC. From small to tall, we've got it all. Highview Motors, GMC.
Here's more award-winning high school sports with Kyle and Oscar on 105.5 KD Country.
Another fine rendition of the national anthem courtesy of the Altavista Colonels Marching Band, and they always do a fantastic job, Oscar. We were talking about West Point, the visiting team in town here today. 4 wins on the season, and, all 4 of those wins are really blowout wins, 40-0, 55-7, 35-0, 47-6. But unfortunately, the teams that they've beat, on paper anyway, not very good ball clubs.
No, they did have that 3-game winning streak, but as you just said, those 3 teams that they beat was, lopsided victories. The combined record this year was 5-25. So, again, on paper, it looks like that West Point can't match up with Altavista tonight.
Yeah, and this is, again, an Altavista team. If you're just tuned into the Colonels for the first time, maybe you're one of those West Point fans listening. This is a team, again, that is the defending single-A state champions. They have not lost a game this season. They ride a long winning streak. They haven't trailed at any point in this season. In fact, last time Colonels did trail in a ball game, you got to go all the way back to that Hayside state semifinal game last year, Oscar. This is a Colonel team that, on paper, pretty darn dominant, and you heard Coach Mike Sharness mention it. These guys love to compete. They really they don't overlook anybody because they want to beat everybody. That's kind of their mentality.
Well, that's evident, and really, it's more evident on the defensive side of the ball for the Colonels. He talked about it. These kids love to fly to the ball. They love to make contact. They love to hit. Not only are they athletes, but, man, they're football players. And it's evident, and I certainly think that with the William Campbell game last year, it looks like they turned it up a notch. They realized that they were on the cusp of the playoffs now, and it's go time for the Colonels.
I thought you made an excellent point in there talking about how these guys for Altavista, not just athletes, they understand football. They all tackle well. They understand the fundamentals of the defense. They understand angles and gaps and setting the edge outside, that kind of thing, working guys back to the inside where the support is and where the pursuit is. And that's the other thing that the Colonels defense does so well is they pursue to the ball. I mean, you look at the amount of long plays they've given up. We can pretty much count them on one hand. There was that one long play against Prince Edward. There was a long play with Galax. Nelson County had a long run. William Campbell had a couple longish kind of 30 or 40-yard plays last week. But nobody has broken free and run the length of the field on Altavista.
And you make a great point there as well. The teams that have been successful against Altavista have run the ball right at them. They run it up the middle. They run it off tackle. You try to sweep on this Colonels team, and there's too much pursuit. Too many athletes with the brothers Johnson, Clydell, Michi, Juan. There's just too many athletes, Destin Brown, Donnie Montague, go on and on. There are too many athletes to get wide on this team.
Yeah, the secondary for Altavista is incredible. The linebacking group for Altavista is incredible. And the defensive line, well, they just don't even allow too many people to get back to that second and third level. So all the way around, this Altavista defense is pretty impressive. They have surrendered a grand total of 55 points on the year, Oscar, and they've scored 7 times on interceptions, 2 points from a safety early in the year. So the Altavista defense can not only stop opponents from scoring, they can do some scoring as well.
Good point. Spirit line forming here, and it's a little sparse as well.
Yeah, even the kids are not immune to the cold weather out there. I mentioned it's cold. Again, if you're not here in town, it's not bitter cold out there yet, but it is mid-30s, I think, is what my car said getting out of it when I got here, and you got to figure that'll dip under the freezing mark by the time the game reaches halftime or so. So it's not windy, though. That helps. It doesn't seem completely, like I said, bitter and nasty out there yet, but it's definitely winter-like conditions. Some would call it football conditions, and we're pleased to be up here in the friendly confines of the press box from Altavista High School. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't from the support of folks like First National Bank, focused on providing an extraordinary customer experience. Altavista Appliance, your appliance, home, lawn, and garden center. Visit them on their new location on 7th Street. Finch & Finch Funeral and Cremation Services, a family serving families since 1905. Apple Markets, check out their weekly specials at all the area locations. Fellers Chevrolet, a short drive will save you money. David W. Shreve, when life happens, call David W. Shreve, attorney at law. El Cazador Mexican Restaurant, a great place for family and friends to dine. English Building Supply, your complete home center, and Davis Paint Headquarters. Highview Motors GMC, from small to tall, Highview has it all. Sonny Merriman, Virginia's bus company, sales, service, and parts. Apple Auto Glass, get a free car wash when you have a new windshield installed. Select Air Mechanical and Electrical, your authorized train dealer. It's hard to stop a train. Steve Farmer Auto Sales, best deals on wheels. And English Construction, wishing our high school athletes an exciting and injury-free game. If you're listening online or with the TuneIn app, your broadcast is brought to you in part by Chris Owen, your All-State agent in Lynchburg. Go online and search for Chris Owen today. Football fans are always in good hands with All-State agent Chris Owen. And Oscar Briggs will mention at some point as we get going on there. We've got some people around the world listening. We weren't kidding about that. We got the stats to back it up now.
Well, we do. And while you do that, I'm going to transition to a special shout-out. Those of you that are familiar with the Altavista basketball program have been very accustomed to listen to Mike Cartolero give his shout-outs. You always hear him shout out to Minnie and Billy in Florida. Lee Cartolero, Mike's wife, her dad passed away. Billy, this past week, they've gone down for the funeral, which was today. Special shout-out to the Cartolero family, especially Lee, and the loss of her father. And we certainly wish them travel mercies on their way home. And again, thoughts and prayers are with you guys.
Yeah, that's a very important thing there, Oscar. And, that is one of the great things about us having the ability to broadcast online, streaming over the Internet, is it allowed all kinds of people to connect to the Colonels. And I know, Billy and Minnie and a lot of those people that Coach Cartolero, that is, gives the shout-outs to, they were the ones that were most excited about it. They say, hey, we can listen to the games now. And that was, that's a big thing. And that's what, to me, that's what it's about, what we do. And that's what radio's about in general, connecting with people. And you can connect in a way that you probably can't do on some other medium. So that's one reason why we are glad, and we do feel honored and privileged to bring in these games, because we know family and friends get a chance to listen wherever they're at around the world. Like I said, brought to you by your All-State agent in Lynchburg, Chris Owen. And, hey, if you're listening around the world, you're listening to West Point or in New York City somewhere, don't be afraid to still look Chris up on the Internet. He'll get you a quote. He might even be able to get you a better deal than your hometown insurance guy. So definitely keep that in mind. Altavista will kick off to start the football game to West Point. Oscar, we're just about to get underway here from Altavista High School.
Colonels did win the toss and deferred, as that's been their MO, trying to get that defense on the field first and get the stop.
Walker Allen has the ball teed up and ready to go. Altavista, home black jerseys and black pants, white and orange trim. Most everybody wearing the black socks. Some guys got a little bit of orange in there or white. West Point in the road, white jerseys, navy blue pants, got some navy blue trim, and they've got some orange in their uniforms as well. Here comes the run-up in the kickoff from Walker Allen. High booming kick that will not get in the end zone, but it'll land on about the 4-yard line. Return man for West Point is number 7, Chase Stewart. Stewart's going to try and go up the middle. Not a whole lot there. He is met by a host of Colonel defenders. A lot of guys in on that one. It looked like Johnny Montague, one of the first guys on the scene, along with Destin Brown.
And it's going to be about the 17-yard line, looks like.
West Point, you heard Coach Sharness mention their offensive alignment. They run sort of a modified single wing, if you will. It's a balanced line. It's not an unbalanced line like William Campbell and Stanton River were running, but it's a sort of a shorter shotgun snap sometimes. to split backs in the backfield, and they've got a couple wings that they'll employ usually. It looks like they're in that setup now as well, although they can drop back into a traditional shotgun. Man goes in motion. Snap goes to the quarterback, William Ellis. He hands it off, trying to go around right end. Nothing there as the Altavista defense swarms. It looked like Juan Thornhill, first man in on the scene for the stop. Darius Johnson not far behind for the Altavista Colonels.
Well, and to the point that we made at the beginning of the game and pregame is that you try to go outside on the Colonel defense. There were 4 or 5 players there waiting on him.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Nothing doing outside. They'll call it no gain. Spot this ball right around the 16-yard line. May have even lost a half a yard or so. West Point going left to right from our perspective. They'll snap this one right hash mark, 16-yard line. Ellis in the low crouch again for the shotgun. They'll put Chase Stewart in motion. They hand it to Stewart. He's trying to get back up the middle. Nothing doing there. The Altavista defense has got a big pile. No whistle just yet. Football comes out. Juan Thornhill has it. And then they give no signal. Apparently a whistle was blown. Thornhill didn't hear it. I certainly didn't hear it. Did you, Oscar?
The coaching staff didn't hear it from Altavista as well.
And I will say, it looked like Stewart's forward progress was stopped, but
Totally
they were letting
agree.
him keep fighting.
Totally agree.
And then the football came out of there somehow. Give the entire Altavista team credit for that tackle there. Everybody was in on that. It was probably Dante Poindexter, the first guy to slow things down. That defensive line right now includes him, Trayvon Elliott, Wayne Short, and it looks like Donovan Montague lined up on the defensive line right now, sort of a defensive end position. 3rd and 9 coming up for West Point. 10:24 remaining in the first quarter. Still no score here from Altavista. Shotgun snap. West Point wants to pass. Ball put in the air by Ellis. Ball intercepted by Michi Malback on the 41-yard line. Michi's got some blockers out in front of him. Going down left sideline. Cuts it back inside one time. Looking for a hole. Now looking for the end zone. Pushed out of bounds around the 4-yard line. The Altavista defense, Oscar, we said it. They can do a great job of stopping people, and they can do a great job of causing turnovers. Michi Malback there with the interception. His 8th pick of the year. Count them, 8 interceptions for Michi Malback on the season.
That's an incredible stat, and it was obvious that ball was overthrown, and Michi looked like he was the receiver en route, made the turn, caught the ball, and again, that transition from defense to offense for the Colonels was seamless there. Claudel Moon with a big block that really got Michi launched down at the 2-yard line.
Yeah, Moon made the big initial block first, and that helped. Colonels first and goal from the 4. Snap goes to Thornhill. He hands to Destin Brown. Brown's in for 6. Touchdown, Altavista Colonels. Their first play on offense. They don't waste much time. 6-0 lead with 10:05 remaining in the Apple Market first quarter. Extra point on the way. Looks like the Colonels are in vintage form here in the early part of this game, Oscar.
Boy, and if you're West Point, with like you said, with 10:05 remaining here in the first quarter, and you're already trailing 6-0, soon to be pinning this Walker Allen 7-0, you're well aware of what Altavista can do to you, and it's got to take the wind out of your sails pretty quickly.
Yeah, the Pointers know what they're up against. They know the Altavista Colonels, defending state champions. They've heard the rumors, and the coaching staff certainly at least has seen some tape. Don't know if the players did. Snap is a little low. Thornhill picks it up, puts it on the block. Walker Allen's kick is good. Colonels lead 7-0. 10:05 left to play in the first quarter when you come back on 105.5 KD Country.
Hi, I'm Tracy Robinson of First National Bank. Did you know there are great home mortgage opportunities available right now? With rates being at an all-time low and 100% financing, our recognized mortgage lenders will deliver the right loan for your needs. Put this together with our other progressive mortgage products, our fast local service, and we're ready to lend. First National Bank, over 100 years of dependable custom banking. For you and your money, that's important. First National Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
More live high school sports action on 105.5 KD Country.
Destin Brown gets the Colonels in the end zone from 4 yards out. Rushing touchdown there for the senior, the homecoming king. That's Destin Brown's 13th touchdown on the year, Oscar. And it was all started because of the Michi Malback interception. Right before that, of course, the Colonels were pretty good on first and second down when West Point had the ball as well. But Altavista, 7-0 lead, a place they've been a whole lot, and it's still early.
Like you just said, 10:05, Colonels lead 7-0, and you can look at West Point, and they look a little deflated already.
A little flat. It's a long bus ride too. That can't help. And like I said, you're going into the defending state champions' home turf. It's a tough proposition for anybody. Another kickoff from Walker Allen, his second of the night. This one a little bit shorter. It'll get fielded on the 7-yard line by Stewart. Stewart starts up left hash mark. Nothing doing there, and he's thrown backwards. small gain. It looks like Donovan Montague, I believe, or actually it's Clydell Moon with the stop there, number 2. Clydell, first man down there, first man to wrap him up and make the tackle. They'll spot this ball right on about the 19.5-yard line. 10 minutes even to play here in the Apple Market first quarter. Colonels ahead 7-0.
And you talked about the bus ride. I was downstairs prior to the game talking to Ryan Mills. He's one of their offensive tackles, 6'5", 280 kid. He said the 4-hour ride was, quote, it wasn't that bad.
I like that. Oscar Briggs getting the human perspective on things here tonight. And we talked about Ryan Mills, 6'5", 280. That's a pretty well put together individual. They're going to try and run behind Mills on this play. Nothing doing, though. The Altavista Colonels defense meets up in the backfield. Montague getting off the pile along with Clydell Moon and Michi Malback. So that's numbers 1, 2, and 3 right there for the Altavista defense combining on the stop.
Marshall Gill comes out of the pile for West Point, a little banged up, holding his hand. And you said 21 players dressed. They can't afford to have anybody get hurt.
No, they really can't. It's the time of the year when everybody is starting to be susceptible to the injury bug. It's a long season. Some injuries add up. Some are catastrophic, and you're out for the year. But right now is not the time when you want to suffer another one of those. Colonel's defense showing blitz. Quarterback keeper here will gain about 2 or 3 yards. Looked like Chase Stewart was lined up in the backfield, sort of a wildcat type of play. Took it off right tackle and did gain a few yards, Oscar.
He gained about 3, and that play was designed to go on a sweep, and he had to cut it back inside. There was just nowhere to go. Nice job by the Colonels defenders turning that play back inside.
It'll bring up 3rd and 8. Remember the last third down situation West Point had? They threw an interception. Michi Malback doing the honors for the Altavista Colonels. Had a nice return that set up the touchdown. 7-0 lead for Altavista. Go ahead, Oscar.
Coach Revis is working hard, calling the plays, calling the defensive plays tonight.
Shotgun formation again, sort of that modified single wing. 3 backs sort of lined up right behind the center. They're going to snap it to Chase Stewart. Stewart looking for room off right tackle. Hit hard and drilled by Clydell Moon, number 2. What a shot. Hit him in the shoulder pads. Just drove him straight to the ground. Small 1-yard pickup, if that, and then Clydell Moon delivering the shot there.
Boy, and just classic, just hit him hard and continued to drive his legs and just drove through him. He's going to remember that hit.
Absolutely. Very strong tackle from Clyde. He never left his feet. Like you said, kept driving the legs after he hit him. Punt formation for the West Point Pointers. Michi Malback back deep to return the punt for the Altavista Colonels. He stands in West Point territory on about the 48-yard line. West Point taking a look at the play clock, seeing how much time they have. Snap gets back, but it's a high looping snap, and it's blocked by Donovan Montague. West Point trying to fall on it. Football's still loose. Mad scrum for it down there. Referees are going to blow it dead. It's Altavista football either way. And the Colonels will take over with very good field position. Call it the 2-yard line. 1st and goal from the 2 coming up after the blocked punt from the senior Donnie Montague.
Boy, Donnie had a free run to the punter then, and it was obvious he was going to be able to get his hand on that ball.
That snap got to its intended target, but it took so long to get there. It was a high looping snap. Looked like one of Oscar's chip shots out there on the 9th green at Altavista Country Club. Shotgun formation, 2 receivers to each side for the Colonels. Thornhill's going to run it himself, diving for the end zone, and he's in. Had one man draped along his back, but he couldn't slow Juan down. Another touchdown for Thornhill, another touchdown for the Altavista Colonels. They lead 13-0. Extra point coming up. Altavista points again, this time not off the turnover, but off the special teams play on the block punt.
And people wonder, you're Altavista and you win the toss. Why do you have to go on defense first? This is why.
That's a great point right there. This is why, especially when you've got a defense like this that can wreak havoc the way the Altavista Colonels defensive side does. Why wouldn't you want to give them a chance to start the football game? Here comes the extra point. Thornhill on to hold. Chest high snap, gets it on the block. Walker Allen's kick straight through. And Altavista has built up a 14-0 lead. We've still got 7.5 left to play in the Apple Market first quarter. West Point football when you come back to 105.5 KD Country.
Apple Auto Glass is your windshield repair and replacement center in Lynchburg. You get a free car wash with all windshields replaced in the shop. Apple Auto Glass wants the fans to enjoy the boys of fall this high school football season.
When I feel that chill Smell that fresh cut grass. I'm back in my helmet, cleats, and shoulder pads, where the boys of fall.
Apple Auto Glass salutes the boys of fall.
Back to the press box for high school sports on 105.5 KD Country.
Possible special guest joining us for the Subway halftime show. We'll have to wait and see here. We've still got 7 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the Apple Market first quarter, Oscar. And you know what they say. Visit the Apple today. Everything to make your weekend great. Football fans are always at the Apple Market.
Apple a day keeps the doctor away.
Yes. You can get an apple at the Apple Market,
That's right.
too. Walker Allen on to kick off. He's 2 for 2 on the extra point so far. Colonels lead 14-0 after a Thornhill rushing touchdown. He's going to drop this kickoff even a little bit shorter than the last on about the 15-yard line. Return man is Chase Stewart again. Stewart trying to drive up the left side numbers, and he'll get it past the 20. We'll call it the 21 or 22-yard line on the return. Good coverage again by the Altavista kick team.
Nice job. Looked like there was a little bit of an opening for Stewart, but it closed up quickly. They're going to actually mark at about the 25. And watch, I'm starting to see a little trend. If you look, the West Point players, Altavista's flying to the ball. They're hitting hard tonight, and it looks like at point of contact that West Point may be shying away a little bit.
Altavista known for their physical brand of football, and it certainly can shock some opponents for the first time. Traditional shotgun set this time. Handoff play going to go off left tackle. Good solid pickup that time from number 26. Was it Tyler Atkins, Oscar?
It looks like that. And for those of you at home, these white jerseys for West Point with the numbers are difficult to pick up.
It is hard to see, and it's of course, if it's hard to see the ball carrier, generally offenses like that, we can see the ball carrier. We just can't see the number very well. It looks like Ellis back there at quarterback again. He's got the back right beside him. I believe it is either Atkins or Corey Smith. Here comes the snap. Handoff again. This time they're going to go off right tackle. Turns it up behind the right guard, meeting a mass of Altavista Colonel players, and he's dropped for about a 1-yard gain. 2-yard gain, actually, where they've got this football spotted, so it'll bring up 3rd and 3. Certainly West Point's most manageable third down situation so far.
And being the first round of the playoffs, I'm going to say this, it's 2-down territory for them. Trailing 14-0 on the road, 6:21 remaining here in the first quarter. You've had 2 3-and-outs, and actually a 4-and-out. We consider the block punt, but 3 and 2 and an interception. So
you're right. You certainly couldn't fault West Point if they went for it here after this third down play. Running play design keeper for the quarterback, William Ellis. Not much there. He is met by the Colonel defensive line. Darius Johnson, Wayne Short in on the stop.
Dante Poindexter as well. Brings up 4th, and they're going to call it. They're giving him a loss on that.
I thought he may have gotten it back to the line of scrimmage. We'll see if West Point does, like we talked about, decide to go for it here. It looks like they're dropping back in the punt formation again. Michi Mall back to return for the Altavista Colonels. Of course, the last punt never made it to the return man. It was blocked by Donovan Montague. 5:33 remaining in the Apple Market first quarter. 14-0 is your Altavista Colonel lead over West Point.
And late substitution here for West Point. One person short on the line.
Still got 3 seconds left. This snap will roll back to the punter. Does get this kickoff. It'll bounce on the 45-yard line. Michi's going to pick it up on the bounce. He never had true control. Stays on his feet, though. Had to put one hand down to keep his balance. Now he'll run out of bounds around the 35 or 40-yard line. Interesting play right there. Michi saw that ball was going to roll back to him. He raced up to get it on the bounce and never really had his feet set under him, and then give him good credit for sort of a ballerina move to stay on his feet.
I wouldn't call it a ballerina move.
What would you call it?
I don't know, but I wouldn't call it a ballerina move.
At least I had some adjective for it. You're left speechless.
I am left speechless. I hadn't heard anybody from Altavista being referred to as a ballerina this year.
That's true. 3 wide receivers to the left for Altavista. That's the wide side. They'll snap this one right hash mark. Juan Thornhill, roll out pass. Looking deep. He's got Darius Johnson wide open. Complete on the 12-yard line. Darius is in for a touchdown. Darius snuck behind the defense. Good rollout pass. Juan Thornhill delivered a strike. And that one gets the coaching staff, Mike Sharness included, a little pumped up. 20-0 is the Altavista Colonel lead. They have scored 3 times. They have run 3 offensive plays, Oscar. So make sure you note that. Scored from I guess it was 6 yards out, then 2 yards out. This one a little bit longer. We'll call it a 40-yard touchdown pass and catch. Thornhill to Darius Johnson.
And we talked about the maturation of players as they've gone along. Certainly Johnson's brothers have become more sure-handed this year than they were last year.
You're absolutely right. Believe it or not, shocking stat here. First touchdown reception of the season for Darius Johnson. It's hard for me to believe, but kudos to the big man, number 10, for getting in the end zone here in the first round of the playoffs. Extra point is good. 21-0 is the Altavista Colonel lead. Still 5:02 remaining here in the Apple Market first quarter when you come back to 105.5 KD Country.
Altavista High School football is brought to you by Steve Farmer Auto Sales. Steve Farmer Auto Sales, where there's always a good selection of cars, trucks, and SUVs, and they're priced right with financing available. See Steve Farmer Auto Sales, 1112 Main Street, Altavista. Steve Farmer Auto Sales, best deals on wheels.
Your high school sports station with award-winning coverage on 105.5 KD Country.
9th game this season, Oscar, that Juan Thornhill has run for a touchdown and thrown a touchdown. And we're still just over halfway through the first quarter, so he's got plenty of time to do more damage. Like I said, sort of surprising. Just Darius Johnson's first touchdown catch of the year, isn't it?
Yeah, that is surprising. I thought for sure that he had at least one or two. But at any rate, 3 plays, 3 scores.
Yep, Juan Thornhill has 10 touchdown passes on his credit now to the year. Another Walker Allen kickoff will land on the 10-yard line. Chase Stewart, the return man again for West Point, does break one tackle this time. Now he's met by a big mass of Colonel bodies. Shaheem Pennell there, Mateo Malback there. Also looked like Stephen Farmer in on that one. So we'll call it a team stop again. Also, number 63, Travion Clark down there on the coverage as well. Like I mentioned, a lot of Colonels in there for that stop on the kickoff return from West Point. West Point will snap this ball on the 25-yard line, far side hash mark. They're going to split 3 receivers out to the right, the wide side, from our perspective.
And this game looks remarkably like the Northumberland game from last year, the first round of the playoffs.
No kidding. West Point's going to put a man in motion. That's Green. They'll hand off to the running back, hit hard around the line of scrimmage there by a couple Colonels. Let's see who gets off that pile there. One of them is number 3, Donovan Montague. The other is number 10, Darius Johnson. Called a 1-yard loss, in fact. 4:34 remaining here in the Apple Market first quarter. 21-0 is your Altavista Colonel lead. This ball is going to be snapped middle of the field. West Point, taking some time to break the huddle there. They'll split 2 receivers out to each side, 2 wings to each side. Back in the backfield, I believe, is number 25, Corey Smith. Smith is a bigger back, 5'11", 241 on the roster.
Well put together kid, isn't he?
Indeed. They hand it to him again. This time he's going to go left tackle, dodging one would-be tackler, and then he fights ahead for maybe a 1-yard gain. Might have got it back to the original line of scrimmage. We'll see where they end up spotting it. Not a whole lot of room there for Corey Smith to run, though.
And Corey's not a speedster. He's a power back, and he really couldn't get going on that. There were just too many Colonels in pursuit of that ball.
Yeah, and again, there's not really a hole there. The Altavista D-line, those outside linebackers, are plugging up any hole that would be open, and then everybody else just races over there to fill it. 3rd and 10 coming up now. Far hash mark again. Down 3 minutes and 25 seconds left in the first quarter. Colonels lead 21-0. Shotgun formation here for West Point. They'll run a toss play, kick it out to the running back on the outside. He's going to try and turn it up on the sweep. Nothing doing there as he is hit hard by the Colonel defense again. Number 2, Clyde L. Moon. Also number 55, Wayne Short there, stringing out the long toss play. Call it a 1-yard loss, Oscar.
Yeah, Donovan Montague really blew that play up. He was going to seal that player in, and West Point player firmly had a hold of his jersey and spun him around, kept Donovan from actually making that stop.
But Colonel's D declines the penalty.
It was a 6-7-yard loss.
It's Tyler Atkins on the carry there. Toss play. He was lined up behind the quarterback, pistol formation. Just didn't have anywhere to go, though, as the Altavista defense was flowing fast and hard. Michi Mall back to return the punt again. Punter for West Point looks like number 23, Austin Matthews. Matthews waiting for that play clock to run down again.
And that's just smart.
Sure. Don't give the Colonels any more time than they already have. This kick, not a very good one. It's going to go out of bounds. It stays in bounds, in fact. Bounces around the 32-yard line, sort of spun backwards. I thought it was going to float out of bounds, Oscar. It never got there. It's down by the West Point punt coverage team.
Yeah, it's like an 11-yard punt. And let's face it, West Point is without their top two, without their top running back, without their top wide receiver, and one of their top athletes. So they've got they were at a disadvantage coming in as a 15 seed to begin with, and you lose a caliber player of an A.J. Jones and a Montel Allen, you're hurting.
You're absolutely right. You are hurting. Plus, we mentioned already it's a long drive, tough assignment, too, in the Altavista Colonels. Empty backfield. They put Clydell in motion. They'll hand it to Clydell Moon, charging ahead off right tackle. Good blocking on the outside by number 70, Tyler Kofer. And it will be a 9-yard pickup for Clydell Moon there on the running play.
Nice tackle by Marshall Gill on that play. 6-foot, 200-pound freshman for West Point.
2nd and 2, actually, spotted back just a yard or so. 2nd and 2 coming up for the Altavista Colonels. Far hash mark, empty backfield again. They put Michi Mall back in motion. Fumble on the play. Ball hits the turf. It was a low snap. Juan Thornhill dove on it, and he had to because West Point's D-line had some penetration there. It'll go as a 2-yard loss, Oscar. One of the rare times we've seen a mishandled snap or a low snap from Altavista this year.
That's a good point I was getting ready to make, Kyle, is that they've done a great job with that this year. That's the first time I can recall.
Same play. They're going to hand it to Michi Malback in motion again. He's across the 20, the 15, the 10, the 5. Touchdown, Michi Malback, and the Altavista Colonels continue to score at will. It took them 3 plays that time, Oscar, but they found the end zone. 1:38 remaining in the Apple Market first quarter. Colonels lead 27-0. It's a 24-yard touchdown run for number 1, Michi Malback. Walker Allen will trot out to try another extra point, Oscar. And again, first 3 touchdowns only took 3 plays. That touchdown takes 3 plays on the drive, but still pretty good winning percentage there if you're talking about the Altavista offense.
7 plays for 4 touchdowns. Last week against William Campbell, it was 8 plays for 4 touchdowns.
Walker Allen, he's 4 for 4 on the night. He just booted another extra point through Altavista. Everything going exactly the way they wanted it to. They lead 28-0 over West Point. 1 minute, 38 seconds remain in the first quarter when you come back to 105.5 KD Country.
Life happens. Divorce, family problems, criminal charges, civil litigation, personal injury cases. Turn to David W. Shreve, an experienced attorney at law. David W. Shreve has been practicing law for 30-plus years. Free consultation for personal injury cases. Call today, 369-6621, 369-6621. David W. Shreve. Good luck to the Altavista football team in the playoffs. Go Colonels. David W. Shreve, located 7th Street, Altavista.
Now back to the action with Colonel Sports on 105.5 KD Country.
Big Colonel hello and shout out to Scooter Duff and John Cogsdale down there in Fayetteville, North Carolina, on the campus of Methodist University. They may not be on campus right now, but they're probably still in the greater Fayetteville region, Oscar. Hard to find 2 bigger Colonel fans than those 2 guys, and of course, probably got Pops down there, Robert and Waverly, but we don't want to give those 2 guys too much credit. They're past their prime, unlike Scooter and John.
No, they're spending time at Methodist University, probably. Got quite a little PGA program down there.
Yeah, of course, Scooter and John, 2 very prominent members of that Altavista golf team that had such a great year, made it all the way to the state tournament, 4th in the state. We had some other Colonel teams that just recently wrapped up their seasons as well. Our Subway halftime show will shine the spotlight on some of them, talk about some stuff going on other than football. Walker Allen has booted this kickoff into the end zone. Touchback for number 89 in the Altavista Colonels. So West Point will take over on their own 20-yard line. 1:38 remaining in the Apple Market first quarter. It's a 28-0 Altavista Colonel lead. Got plenty more shout-outs coming on. We may just sort of turn it into a sort of a Colonel roll call kind of a thing, Oscar, that we will do every every now and then. Well, certainly once or twice a game, obviously, not just every now and then. 28-0 is the score. West Point going left to right from our perspective. They'll snap this ball middle of the field between the hash marks. 3 wide receivers, 2 here to the right, 1 to the left. 2 backs, 1 right beside William Ellis on both sides. He'll hand it off to number 26, I believe. That's Tyler Atkins. Atkins, not a whole lot of room there. Going up the middle, it was actually number 88, Devondre Green on the carry that time. I beg your pardon, Oscar. And Green didn't have a lot of room either. Didn't matter who the ball carrier was. There was no hole there. He got it back to the line of scrimmage.
No, and the Colonels have done a great job at shutting any chance of this running game down.
3 wide receivers again, just 1 back in the backfield, joining William Ellis, though. 1 wing back over here to the right. Fakes the handoff. No, he gives the handoff. That's the big man, Corey Smith. Smith driving ahead across the 20. Might have got to the 21. Met a whole host of Colonel defenders there as he fell to the ground. Glydell Moon in on the stop. Darius Johnson in on the stop. Wayne Short there for the tackle. And also Demetrius Johnson helping out on the tackle as well. Pretty much the entire Colonel D line with the exception of Dante Poindexter. And it'll bring up another 3rd down, 3rd and 9 for West Point. 13 seconds remaining in the quarter, and I think West Point might run this out and go to the second quarter, but we'll see. They've broken the huddle pretty quickly. May want to get a play off here before the quarter runs out. William Ellis looking over the defense for Altavista. He doesn't appear to be in any rush. Now he calls the snap count, and the ball did get snapped, but he didn't snap it in time. Quarter runs out. Altavista, they lead by 4 scores. They've been perfect so far. They're up 28-0. 3rd down on the way to start the second quarter when you come back to 105.5 KD Country.
Unfortunately, I have some bad news.
How bad is it, Doctor?
We've done all we can. Your heat pump's not going to make it.
Oh, no.
Honey, it's going to be okay. We'll call Select Air Mechanical and Electrical, 332-2600. With over 60 years experience, they'll have us comfortable again in no time.
I recommend Select Air to all my patients. Call 332-2600 or visit selectairmechanical.com. They can handle all your home comfort needs, and they're an authorized trained dealer. It's hard to stop a train.
Your home for Colonel sports coverage. 105.5 KD Country.
Second quarter about to get underway here from Altavista High School. West Point will have a 3rd and 9 situation coming up as we switch ends of the field. Oscar, we're having a good time. Just because it's the playoffs doesn't mean we can't still have a good time up here and have a few laughs and joke around a little bit.
Yeah, it's we are having a good time tonight, and
you don't have to seem so excited about it like that.
Well, I've got a shout out here. I'll do in just a minute.
I know you do. We've like I said, we've got a few more people we want to talk about here as the game goes on because we know you're out there listening. And hey, if you want to send us a message on the KD Country Facebook page, we'll mention your name on the radio. Movement up front on the offensive line for West Point. I believe this is going to back them up a few more yards here, and we'll call it 3rd and 14 now as the penalty is against the Pointers. Yeah, you got to like the KD Country Facebook page. You never know what's going on there. Of course, if you want a chance to win with Subway, where we give you the code word at some point during either the Subway halftime show or the Subway postgame show, you got to like KD Country's Facebook for that. And I will say this. Actually, I'll save it for the Subway halftime show, Oscar. Don't want to digress too much. 3rd and 14 coming up here for West Point. 12 minutes even left to play here in this Apple Market second quarter. Wide receiver to each side, wing back to each side. Running back is to William Ellis's left. Altavista showing some blitz, stunning up front. Here comes the snap. It's good. Ellis looking for somewhere to go and to throw the football. He's flushed out of the pocket. He's across the 10, the 15. He'll get pushed out of bounds. Referee had to dodge him. There, the side judge, as Demetrius Johnson just sort of pushed William Ellis to the ground, out of bounds. No gain on the play. May have even lost one. And it will bring up 4th and 15 for West Point. Probably a punt situation again, Mr. Briggs.
Boy, Dante was in dead pursuit of him. He's the one that flushed him out and couldn't quite track him down.
Good coverage downfield, really, because Ellis had some time to throw initially on the snap. Then he had to escape the pocket because of the defensive pressure. Punt formation indeed for West Point. Michi Maul back, deep to return again for the Altavista Colonels. Heels are on the 40-yard line of West Point. Altavista has blocked one punt, The 2 punts that have been successful weren't very long for West Point. Here comes the snap. This one's better. And this kick is better, too. It'll hang up high in the air. Malbeck's going to get a chance to return. Fields on the 44-yard line. Starts left. Now going right. Big block from Devontae Clark. Malbeck's across the 20, the 10, the 5. Another big block downfield from Traquan Farmer. Michi Malbeck. Touchdown. A 44-yard punt return for the Altavista Colonels.
Boy, if you get a chance to watch this on film, Channel 13's here. Devontae Clark.
Wow.
Absolutely leveled Scott Hammond, a 5'10", 190 player from West Point. That had to hurt. It did hurt him because he laid on the field.
Colonels, we've said a few times this year, Oscar, that Altavista hasn't set up the blocking very well on the punt returns. That time, the blocking was very well set up. Malbeck used those blocks, turned on the Jets around the 25-yard line, and he was not going to be stopped on his way to the end zone. Good blocking all the way around. Snap gets back for the extra point. Extra point is good. 35-0. Altavista Colonels lead. Again, they score, Oscar. Didn't even need the offense to do it. 11:38 remaining here in the second quarter on 105.5 KD Country.
Hello, this is Mitch Haley, co-owner of Altavista Appliance Home and Lawn Center.
And this is Paul Shelton, co-owner of Altavista Appliance Home and Lawn Center.
We would like to invite you to visit our new location at 606 7th Street, the former Alta Shoe Shop building.
We are proud to offer the top 6 major brands in the appliance industry.
With the largest selection of appliances, furniture, and lawn equipment in Altavista and the surrounding areas, we have something for everyone's taste.
With several financing options available, we can meet any customer's needs.
Your station for high school sports play-by-play is 105.5 KD Country.
We've talked about the defense. We've talked about the offense. Probably about time we start talking about the special teams a little bit more, Oscar. 44-yard punt return from Michi Malbeck. Really some great blocking. Again, I need to mention that a few more times. Great blocking out front from Michi, and then, of course, the wheels from Mr. Malbeck did the rest.
Yeah, and I talked about a shout-out. I want to give a special shout-out. Mike Southern, good friend of mine, former pro here in Altavista again, dear friend, lost his father today. Mike, thoughts and prayers are with you. If you need anything, I'll be in touch.
Tell you, Oscar,
Jerry Southern, of course, lived here in Altavista for a long time, with Mike and his family. So
I mentioned what a great time of the year this is, but each day really is a gift. Each day is a great time of the year. You got to enjoy it while it lasts. Kick return coming here from Chase Stewart. He's made a few Altavista tacklers miss. He's across the 20, now the 25, thrown down with a waist tackle from. Looked like Ty Woodruff. Shaheem Pennell also out there.
And, they started the running clock, which, by the book VHSL rules is whatever.
Yeah, again, it's something that we had happen last year in the playoffs, the running clock in the first half. It's supposed to be in the second half, but the coaches can get together and can get with the officials and say, let's run the clock now, and we've seen that a few times with the Altavista Colonels, and that's, again, a testament and another, I guess, fact and statistic of how good that they are. I mean, just the fact that they initiate a running clock in the first half sometimes with this football team. William Ellis, the quarterback for West Point, checking that play clock again. 2 receivers to each side, 2 wingbacks to each side. They hand it off to 25, Corey Smith. Smith trying to go right tackle. Looked like he had a guard pulling out in front for him. Not a whole lot there. See, he's thrown out along the far sideline, just in front of the West Point bench. No gain there. He may have even, they're going to spot him about a yard gain, Oscar. Does that look right to you? I thought he lost yards.
Yeah,
now they're moving it back. Okay.
Wrong side.
Yeah. Chain gang. It's hard to find good help over there in a chain gang, for sure.
And for West Point, Caleb Carter was out on the edge blocking for that. And just to give him a shout-out tonight, call his number. His dad was up here in the press box, part of the coaching staff and for West Point. And appreciate him stopping by. Had a nice conversation with him as well.
Yeah, Mr. Carter there. He was a funny guy. Had some good stuff to say. And Caleb Carter, a senior out there for the Pointers. Tighter formation this time. They'll snap it to the up back. I believe that's big 25 number Corey Smith again. He gets a gain. It's sort of almost the West Point version of a quarterback sneak because the quarterback, Ellis, faked like it was a bad snap. They snapped it to the short back. That was Corey Smith. And he picks up 3 there on the inside running play for the Pointers. 8:25 remaining here in the Apple Market second quarter. Altavista up 35-0 over West Point. Pointers in town again from the eastern part of the state over there around Williamsburg, New Kent area. That's a fun area if you've ever been down there before. Ellis will go back in the shotgun again. Short shotgun formation. He's only about 2 or 3 yards behind the center. Passing play on third down. Trying to swing it out on the out route. It's a good pass, but it was a little long, incomplete. He was looking for number 26, Tyler Atkins. Good coverage there by Nelson Dews and Darius Johnson.
Yeah, that's the point I was going to make. Is he would have had to been a perfect pass, because if it was a little bit short, Darius was there, and it was a little bit long, Nelson was there, and you try to throw over the long arms of Darius Johnson. That's a tough proposition as well. 7:35 remaining here in the second quarter. The clock running 35-0. Colonels lead.
One of our dear friends, Austin Higley, longtime Colonel fan now. He's a Colonel fan now because of us, Oscar. He's wondering about the running clock in the first half. I think he's wondering why wasn't that around when I was playing. I don't know if he means that because he was getting beat so bad or because he was beating teams so bad. I'll have to look into that. Punt formation again. This one does get off. It'll go out of bounds, lands in the West Point bench, actually, over there by the Gatorade cooler. We'll see where they spot it, right at the 40-yard line, so Altavista. Good field position again. Not that field position has really mattered as far as their offensive output goes. They've scored every time they've touched the football.
And you've had Destin Brown with a touchdown, one with a running touchdown, one with a passing touchdown, and Michi with a running touchdown and a punt return for a touchdown.
Pretty impressive stuff all the way around for the Altavista offense. The special teams and the defense has really caused a lot of those situations. You remember Altavista started one drive from the 6, one drive from the 2. Here comes the shotgun formation
Juan
for
is
the
chomping
Colonels.
at the bit.
Donovan Montague in at quarterback. They hand it off this time to Destin Brown. Brown shakes off one tackler, then hit hard around the 35-yard line. Thornhill was out there at wide receiver, which is what Oscar was alluding to. Montague will stay in there at quarterback. 2nd and 5 coming up, middle of the field for Altavista. They're going left to right from our perspective. 2 receivers to each side. Destin Brown in the backfield, again as a running back to Donovan Montague's right. Montague looking over the defense. One deep safety for West Point. Cornerback's given about a 10-yard cushion. Montague going to throw. He's got it complete to Thornhill at the 25. Juan makes one guy miss, running across the 20. Now he goes upfield across the 10, the 5. Touchdown, Juan Thornhill with a receiving touchdown. So he runs one, he throws one, he catches one. What can't the Magic Man do? Juan Thornhill with a 35-yard touchdown reception from fellow senior Donovan Montague.
And good to see Donovan be able to get one in open field and hit him in stride. And, Juan had to do a little cutback, a little backfield, about 3 or 4 yards. But, it was clear he was going to get to the end zone on that play.
Well, you mentioned it last week. A lot of the moves that Juan Thornhill employs, you can only do with a joystick on a video game. But Juan has those. That's the kind of talent that he has. He's on the hold here for the extra point, and the extra point is good. Altavista extending the lead, starting to really pull away. They're up 42-0 over West Point. 5:56 remaining in the half when you come back to 105.5 KD Country.
English is
so much more.
English is
More than a hardware store.
English is.
My friends may call me the perfectionist, but at English's Building Supply, my neighborhood Davis paint dealer, they greet me by name. You see, I like to get things done exactly right, especially when it comes to my many painting projects. So I'm at English's Building Supply a lot, whether it's mixing the perfect Davis paint for my project or offering great incentives. They do business just the way I like it. Perfectly. English's on North Main Street, Altavista.
Here's more award-winning high school sports with Kyle and Oscar on 105.5 KD Country.
Plenty of good candidates for the Highview halftime highlights. Be sure you tune into the Subway halftime show for that. 5:53 remaining here in the Apple Market second quarter. Walker Allen set to kick off again, and it's a 35-yard pass and catch. The pass from Donovan Montague, the recipient. That was number 11, Juan Thornhill. Second receiving touchdown of the year, and we've seen the Colonels, Oscar, do that from time to time. Maybe not as much as we expected, but they've certainly employed Thornhill as a receiver very successfully this season. Chase Stewart will field it on around the 10, bringing it across the 20. Good return as he is shoved out of bounds, almost ended up on the first or second lane of the track over there at Altavista.
And Donovan Montague had a full head of steam. He wanted to get to the ball carrier and hit him. He was a little bit disappointed that the player ran out of bounds. Just speaks to the competitive nature and the drive that these kids had. They're winning 42-0, and here's a kickoff play that's going nowhere, and Donovan's just giving every bit of effort he's got
to make
the stop.
You're right. It's a very competitive team. Coach Sharnas has mentioned that countless times on his interviews on the Subway pregame show. I mean, this is a team that they don't overlook anybody because they just want to compete against everybody. They want to get out there and play, and they want to dominate everybody. It doesn't matter if the New England Patriots roll into town. Screen pass this time. Ellis to Stewart. Stewart catches around the 28. Brings it up to about the 30-yard line there before he meets resistance. Devontae Clark in on the stop. Also, Donovan Montague there helping out for the Altavista Colonels. Wayne Short came from the defensive line spot to help out. Solid 4-yard pickup, though, for West Point on the passing play. Ellis to Stewart.
And one of the more positive plays. Not a first down yet for
no first downs yet so far for West Point. And I'm sure Altavista's defense, that's something they're competing over now to make sure they can try and stop West Point. Got to feel like the Pointers are going to pick up a first down somewhere, though. Bunch formation to the left for the Pointers. Passing play here. Ellis dropping back. He's got some time, but he keeps going backwards. Going to throw a long, wobbly pass. Incomplete, but the flags will come out, and this will give West Point a first down because Devontae Clark interfered with number 7, Chase Stewart. Just hit him too soon. Didn't really identify where the ball was at. Stewart was running after it, and Devontae Clark just didn't hit him hard, but it was clearly pass interference.
Yeah,
right
and
call.
Devontae, lost a receiver and was trying to look at the quarterback to contain him because he was scrambling for his life, and not literally scrambling for his life, but he was scrambling and lost where he was. He saw the player reacting to the ball and did what he could do. Keep the reception from happening.
Yep.
So.
This will move the chains up. I think they're going to spot it on around the 45-yard line. Not around the 45-yard line. It's resting exactly on the 45-yard line. So, again, first down of the night for West Point. Bunch formation again to the left. William Ellis is the quarterback. Did a nice job on the last play buying some time. The pass was a little bit wobbly, but he got it out there. Passing play again. He's going to roll to his right. Pump fakes once. Now he's going to turn and run. Sliding down across the 46 or 47-yard line.
Not only was that the first down for West Point tonight, it was also the first something else for the Colonels.
First penalty for the Altavista Colonels.
And
You're right.
That's a change from the last 2 to 3 weeks.
It's something they've been working on. Coach Sharnas has clearly, if you've listened to these games, he's talked about it more than enough times. He wants the Altavista team to cut down on their penalties, and we've talked about it. Not all penalties are created equal. That one there was not something like jumping into the neutral zone or being offside, not watching the ball. Devontae Clark just trying to make a play. Just ended up hitting that receiver a little bit too early. West Point going to open up the formation a little bit. Empty backfield, 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left, which is the wide side of the field. They'll snap this ball. 2:46 remaining in the half. They trail 42-0 to Altavista. Ellis wants to throw again. Good strong arm over the middle. Pass is tipped and now intercepted. Ballback has another one. He's across the 45, the 50, the other 45. He's only going to have one man to beat. That's the quarterback. He's got Darius blocking out front for him. He'll jog it into the end zone. Excellent job by Michi Malback. No flags on the return. Darius Johnson really doing a good job to run down the quarterback. Ellis, who was the only guy that had a chance at tackling Malback. 6 more points for Altavista. We'll call that one a 55-yard interception return, Oscar Briggs. Malback tipped it, and then he came down with it, and then the return was on.
I'm going to call it a 65-yard.
Call it 65.
But, yeah, he again, we've talked about Michi breaking to the ball. He's doing that this year better than any, just as good as any quarter we've seen in Altavista in a long time. Broke to the ball, got his hand on it, the old tip drill, and he grabbed it. And again, defense to offense, had a convoy.
Here comes the snap back on the extra point. Holder that time was Chancellor Mormon. And the kick is good for the Altavista Colonels. They lead 49-0. Count it, 49-0. We still got 2.5 left to play in the first half on 105.5 KD Country.
Our
Looking for a new Chevrolet? Fellers Chevrolet.
FellersDirect.com.
For a huge selection of new Chevrolets and pre-owned vehicles, it's Fellers Chevrolet.
FellersDirect.com.
FellersDirect.com. Selection. Convenience. Fellers Chevrolet.
Fellers Chevrolet.
Always open and only a click away.
FellersDirect.com. A short travel save you money. Fellers Chevrolet in Altavista.
More live high school sports action on 105.5 KD Country.
2:29 remaining here in the Apple Market second quarter. Three great locations in Altavista: Gateway, Main Street, and Riverside. It's always an Apple Market close by for high school football fans. Of course, plenty of Apple Markets in the entire Central Virginia region. We'll look around at some of those other playoff games. Our friends at William Campbell taking on Central Lunenburg tonight, and the winner of that one will take on the Altavista Colonels next week. Barring some sort of minor miracle here for West Point. Pitch play on the kickoff return. They toss it back to Chase Stewart. Stewart's going to try to make some room for himself. Cuts back one time. Now heading north to south again. Pushing forward. Falls down around the 22-yard line. Interesting return there, Oscar. Ball landed on about the 5.
It looked like they were thinking it was going to go into the end zone,
Yeah.
and then it kind of checked up on him at around the 3-yard line, and he had no choice but to pick it up and play it.
Interesting return, like I said. Chase Stewart did a good job to make the most of it there, catch the pitch, and then some nice moves out there in the middle of all those Altavista defenders. Colonels substituting a little bit here on defense, but for the most part, it looks like the entire first team, not the entire first team, but many of those first teamers still out there. Coleman Teagarden has checked in on the defensive line here, playing one of those defensive end spots. Devontae Clark stands right beside him. Four receiver formation for West Point. They hand it off to the big man, Corey Smith. Smith driving ahead. Good pickup this time. He met a whole bunch of defenders and drove through 2 or 3 of them. Football might have come out at the end of the play, but no signals, so I think Smith was down. This is a solid pickup. We'll call it 5 yards, 6 yards, in fact, on the first down running play from West Point.
A little bit of life here in West Point. 45 seconds here remaining in the second quarter. Colonels leading big, 49-0.
Pointers are still playing hard. Can't take that away from them, and that's not an easy thing to do when you're down 49-0. We're under 30 seconds left to play in the half. We'll see if West Point are going to have to run at least one more play, but they're certainly trying to milk that clock. They don't want to run any more plays than they have to. William Ellis got his hands on his hips looking at that play clock. Now he'll start barking out the snap count. 3 receivers to his left. He's going to hand it off to Smith again. Smith running outside. Stiff arms Devontae Clark. Tries to stay on his feet as Nelson Dews makes the diving tackle. Got him around the shoestrings. Right near the first down marker. Maybe just 1 yard shy of that marker, Oscar. No, they're moving those chains. He picked it up.
They are, and that's going to be the last play of the half.
It will. Half comes to a close, and it was a dominant half from the Altavista Colonels. They lead 49-0. Subway halftime show on the way when you come back to 105.5 KD Country.
In the past century, our community has grown, and Finch & Finch Funeral and Cremation Service has grown too, alongside the families they've known for so long. Finch & Finch is proud to have served you over 100 years. A family business, Finch & Finch Funeral and Cremation Service, dedicated to your service.
Finch & Finch Funeral Homes. We're here because we care.
Apple Market convenience stores featuring bargains throughout the store, like Monster energy drinks in the 16-ounce size, 2 for $2. Choose from new soups, tasty broccoli and cheddar, creamy potato bacon, or chili, 8-ounce size, $2.59, or 12-ounce size for $3.49. M&M and Snicker regular size bars, only 99 cents. Apple Markets, Riverside, Gateway, Main Street. You know what they say, stop by an Apple today.
Good food, low prices, and great service keep customers coming back for more day after day at El Cazador Mexican Restaurant in Altavista. El Cazador is now open all afternoon, so you can come by anytime, any day, 11 a.m. till 10 p.m. El Cazador Mexican Restaurant, a great place to unwind and relax with friends. Open 7 days a week, Main Street, Altavista. El Cazador thanks you for your business.
Back to the press box for high school sports on 105.5 KD Country.
Subway halftime show begins here from Altavista High School. English Stadium is the site. First round VHSL single A playoff action. Colonels lead 49-0, and I'm joined by a special guest. It's always nice when we get to remove Oscar Briggs from the press box. Sometimes we have to do it forcibly, but this time he went willingly, and we get to be joined by Mr. Dean Hubbard, the athletic director here at Altavista High School. And Mr. Hubbard, it's always nice we get to have you up here and sort of give a rundown of what's been happening in the fall sports season with the Altavista Colonels. We'll start with a sport I know you and I both love, and we already talked about a little bit on our broadcast. Golf team had another outstanding year, didn't they?
Yeah, he sure did, Kyle. Thanks for having me. Our golf team went to the state tournament this year and finished fourth. First time that our golf team had been to the state in 10 years, so awful proud of our kids and Coach Brian, who does a great job.
Yeah, and we had a couple of your seniors, John Cogsdale and Ethan Maddox, up here, and we've talked about Scooter Duff a bunch. It's nice when you've got some guys like that who are not only good golfers but just good young men as well, and carry themselves the right way and can have a little fun while they're out there as well.
Absolutely, John and Hamp Maddox really represent the student athletes, and they had a great year for us.
And of course, the other sports teams this fall we'll get into. Cross country just wrapped up their season today, and that's a team that girls and guys has always had a lot of success, and this year they had another good season as well.
They sure did, Kyle. Both our boys and girls won the conference 44, and then our boys happened to win the region. Today we had the state meet in Warrenton, and our boys finished fourth. I think we had three kids in the top 15, and Daniela, who's a foreign exchange student for us, I think finished fifth or sixth in the girls' race. So it was a great day for us.
It's always nice when the cross country teams can wrap their season up. Cold day for them to run out there, but the body temperature warms itself up when you're moving around. And we talked about success, and of course, somebody at Altavista, no stranger at all success, is Coach Deborah Spencer, and had another good volleyball team this year. Did Coach Spencer? I know they had high hopes. They made it to the state semifinals and actually lost out here at home against West Point in a very close, hard-fought ball game there. I know everybody sad they couldn't go on further, but when you put it into perspective, another state semifinal appearance for the volleyball team.
Another great year, Kyle. It was a regional semifinal game, and like I said, West Point ended up beating us 3-2. We were up 2-1, and it was a very competitive match, and our girls had a great year. Coach Spencer does a great job, and like I said, we have a lot to be proud of.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I misspoke. It was the regional semifinal, but like you said, it definitely doesn't diminish the achievements of the team. And now we've wound it all the way down to football, and I know you've been around high school sports and football in general a long time. Haven't seen too many better ball clubs than what Altavista's got on the field this year, have you?
Well, Kyle, it's a special group. I was telling somebody the other day, a couple weeks ago, we had senior night, and I think we had 40 seniors. So, we've got 13 to 14 senior football players, and it is a special group. And, of course, Coach Sharness and his staff and our kids do a great job. A lot of excitement. It's week one of the football playoffs, and we hope we got some more weeks to come.
Yeah, I think every Colonel fan is echoing that sentiment. Let me ask you a question, sort of put you on the spot here a little bit. Altavista, the number 2 seed, Essex, the number 1 seed.
Right.
If both of those two teams win out, does that mean Altavista would be on the road in that state semifinal game if Essex is still in it, kind of like the situation last year?
Yeah, I think so, Kyle. As long as Essex doesn't lose, if we would happen to get to the state semifinals, and it's like we would be on the road. If Essex would happen to lose and we would win, there might be a possibility it could be here. But we've hopefully can get to that point.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Got to take it one game at a time. I know it sounds cliche, but it's true. And everybody, all the coaches here at Altavista really, I think, do a great job, and that's a testament to you, Mr. Hubbard, and the things that you do. And I know you don't like praise, but you probably like praise more than criticism, right?
Well, yeah, but I will tell you this, Kyle. I've been very fortunate for a number of years to have great people around me, and I've told many people that Altavista is a special place, and we have great student athletes and have great coaches that are with our kids and daily and trying to make them become better men and women.
Yeah, great point, and that's what it's all about in the long run. Mr. Dean Hubbard, thank you so much for joining us. We'll talk to you again soon. Basketball season will be here before you know it. We'll make you come up here in the press box for that, and you never know. We might make you do some color analysis if you're not careful. We know you're a crafty old ball coach from years gone by, so.
No problem, Kyle. I appreciate you having me. Appreciate all y'all do.
Thank you so much. We'll step aside for a timeout, bring it on back with some stats, the Highview highlights, and so much more. Subway halftime show rolls on. Colonels with the big lead, 49-0 on 105.5 KD Country.
Virginia's oldest and most experienced bus company, Sunny Merriman Incorporated, along with their employees and families, joined together to congratulate the Altavista High School athletic teams for their outstanding fall seasons. Sunny Merriman wishes you the best in the playoffs and your quest to bring home more state championship trophies to our community. Go Colonels and make us proud. Sunny Merriman Incorporated.
There's just one place where students are students first, and athletics are played with purpose and perspective. That place is your local high school. High school sports offer more than the joy of competition. Studies show that student athletes in Virginia are also likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in other areas of their lives, including academics. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education.
Brought to you by English Construction Company, Main Street, Altavista.
Have you looked at your business banking fees lately? I'm Sean Stone with First National Bank, and we have the best business accounts which offer serious savings for your company. We have a full menu of business products from checking accounts and remote deposit capture to online banking. And we have a local merchant card representative who will customize services just for your business. So let First National Bank prepare an analysis of your current activity and show how we will reduce your banking fees. First National Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Your high school sports station with award-winning coverage on 105.5 KD Country.
49-0 is the halftime lead for the Altavista Colonels. Let's before we go too much further, Oscar, let's try and recap it to the best of our abilities for anybody that might have joined late. I tell you, with all the touchdowns, it was early and often for Altavista. They struck first with the blocked punt, and then they got the interception that set up the first touchdown. Michi Malbeck with the first of his two interceptions set up a Dustin Brown touchdown run, and then really Colonels were up 7-0. Didn't look back from that point.
Yeah, the Dustin Brown 4-yard touchdown run, and then Juan with a 2-yard run after the blocked punt. Then the 40-yard touchdown pass to Darius from Juan, and then Michi with a 24-yard run. Again, all of that in the first quarter. Colonels lead 28-0 at the end of the first, and let's face it, the route was on.
Yeah, Michi Malbeck started the second quarter with the interception, the punt return. Michi punt return. Juan Thornhill grabbed a touchdown reception, and then Michi had the interception return for a touchdown. So let's look at just those two guys, Oscar, Juan Thornhill and Michi Malbeck. Those two men have each scored in three different ways. Michi has a rushing touchdown, a punt return touchdown, and an interception return for a touchdown. Juan Thornhill has thrown a touchdown, run a touchdown, and also has a receiving touchdown. That's dynamic. That's dynamic in the true sense of the word, too. That's pretty incredible stuff.
Well, and something else incredible is you got 49 points on the board, and Clyde Moons hadn't been in the end zone, and Destin's only been in the end zone once.
Yep.
That's pretty amazing in itself.
That is incredible. We got plenty of those plays to choose from that might be on the Highview halftime highlights. I think it's time for that. Our sound engineer, Eleanor Haney, she sounds pretty proud of these highlights. She kept telling me there's so many of them. And the Colonels have had some big plays tonight. So let's hear it. The Highview halftime highlights, all courtesy of Highview Motors, GMC in Altavista. Shotgun formation, 2 receivers to each side for the Colonels. Thornhill's going to run it himself, diving for the end zone, and he's in. Another touchdown for Thornhill, another touchdown for the Altavista Colonels. Right side, they'll snap this one right hash mark. Juan Thornhill, roll out pass, looking deep. He's got Darius Johnson wide open, complete on the 12-yard line. Darius is in for a touchdown. And this kick is better, too. It'll hang up high in the air. Malbeck's going to get a chance to return. Fields on the 44-yard line, starts left, now going right. Big block from Devontae Clark. Malbeck's across the 20, the 10, the 5. Another big block downfield from Traquan Farmer. Michi Malbeck, touchdown, a 44-yard punt return for the Altavista Colonel. Cornerback's given about a 10-yard cushion. Montague going to throw. He's got it complete to Thornhill at the 25. Juan makes one guy miss, running across the 20. Now he goes upfield across the 10, the 5. Touchdown, Juan Thornhill with a receiving touchdown. So he runs one, he throws one, he catches one. What can't the Magic Man do? Juan Thornhill with a 35-yard touchdown reception from fellow senior Donovan Montague.
No one knows trucks like we know trucks. Come see us and you'll agree. From small to tall, we've got it all. Highview Motors, GMC. Come on in, bring the family and see your friends at Highview Motors. Highview Motors, GMC. From small to tall, we've got it all. Highview Motors, GMC.
Now back to the action with Colonel Sports on 105.5 KD Country.
49-0 is your Altavista Colonel lead. You heard some of that on the Highview halftime highlights, and this is the Subway halftime show. You can always eat fresh with 2 locations in Altavista. And, of course, big or small, Subway can cater your party. Box lunches, sandwich platters, cookie trays. The options are endless. Call Robert at 369-2366. Let Subway handle your next event. You definitely will not be let down. And nobody being let down tonight on the win with Subway, Oscar. We are extending it for the playoffs. I think we'll do it now since we got a bit of a wide margin here. So your Subway word of the night, your chance to win with Subway is now. Just post the word blowout to the Altavista Colonel Facebook, to the KD Country Facebook page. I still can't get it right. We're 11 games into the season. Post the word blowout to the KD Country Facebook page. First person to do so will win themselves a foot-long meal deal courtesy of Subways in Altavista. I was thinking about the Subway Facebook page, actually, Oscar, because Robert's been doing some pretty cool stuff there. If you like Subway on Facebook, you can stay alert for his promotions. Sometimes he'll say, hey, next person to post that they're in Subway, I'll give you a free meal, that kind of thing. Pretty neat stuff that Robert's doing down there with Facebook. Make sure you like KD Country's Facebook for your chance to win with Subway tonight. Just post the word blowout to the KD Country Facebook page. You got a chance to win a foot-long meal deal. Let's see what else I can screw up here while we got a chance, Oscar. How about some scores? Look around the area, and certainly we'll hear about the possible opponent for the Colonels next week. Our friends down at Dan River, they're tied with Buckingham at 21 halftime there, I believe.
And that was that one a lot of people circled as being one of the games of the week. Thought that would be a very a highly contested game, and lo and behold, 21-all it is.
Another potential game of the week out there in Liberty. Liberty leading Brookville 16-14 halftime in Bedford. And Monticello up 24-0 on Tunstall. Here come the William Campbell Generals. They lead 21-14 over Lunenburg, about midway through the second quarter there. Interesting score as William Campbell lost to Lunenburg earlier in the year, but I would say that the Generals have gone through a period of growth there. They're playing better, and certainly either of those two teams is going to be a worthy opponent for Altavista next week, but obviously that game not decided yet by any stretch of the imagination.
And the score was, if it does turn out to be William Campbell, again, a lot of football left in that ball game. We said early in the broadcast, if you don't want to see William Campbell in the state later down the road, and although the score, I don't think the score was indicative of how well William Campbell played.
William Campbell's got a good football team this year. Coach Jay Ferris has got those guys ready. They're running the single wing offense. It's tough to game plan against. Colonel certainly did a better job of it than most people. Heritage leading Christiansburg 12-7 at halftime. More scores coming in as we speak. Jefferson Forest is up 29-15 over Loudoun County. What else does Bob Alvis have for us? Essex, of course, as I mentioned to as I mentioned to Dean Hubbard, he's a former coach. You can still call him coach. As I mentioned to Dean Hubbard, Essex, the number 1 seed in the East region, which Altavista is in. Altavista, the number 2 seed. Essex is leading Cumberland 41-6, so it looks like Essex is going to roll. And, of course, Colonel fans remember Essex from last year. That's who Altavista defeated in the state championship game. And that's about it as far as playoff teams go. If I'm forgetting anybody, our dear friend and colleague Bob Alvis will help us out. He'll send us the scores. We're going to step aside for another timeout, catch our breath, maybe talk a little bit about the second half in this one, and I'll do some shout-outs, a little Colonel roll call, if you will. We've got a bunch of people around the world listening to this broadcast tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. Altavista, they're up 49-0 over West Point. You're hearing it all on 105.5 KD Country.
Apple Auto Glass is your windshield repair and replacement center in Lynchburg. You get a free car wash with all windshields replaced in the shop. Apple Auto Glass wants the fans to enjoy the boys of fall this high school football season.
When I feel that chill, smell that fresh cut grass, I'm back in my helmet, cleats, and shoulder pads, where the boys of fall.
Apple Auto Glass salutes the boys of fall.
Altavista High School football is brought to you by Steve Farmer Auto Sales. Steve Farmer Auto Sales, where there's always a good selection of cars, trucks, and SUVs, and they're priced right with financing available. See Steve Farmer Auto Sales at 1112 Main Street, Altavista. Steve Farmer Auto Sales, best deals on wheels.
Unfortunately, I have some bad news.
How bad is it, Doctor?
We've done all we can. Your heat pump's not gonna make it.
Oh, no.
Honey, it's going to be okay. We'll call Select Air Mechanical and Electrical, 332-2600. With over 60 years experience, they'll have us comfortable again in no time.
I recommend Select Air to all my patients. Call 332-2600 or visit selectairmechanical.com. They can handle all your home comfort needs, and they're an authorized trained dealer. It's hard to stop a train.
Your home for Colonel sports coverage. 105.5 KD Country.
West Point set to kick off to start the second half. We've got a winner of Win with Subway. I'll tell you about that in just a second. Get to some of those shout-outs. A score I forgot. Bob Alvis, I told you he wouldn't let me forget it, Oscar. Chatham leading Marion 21-20. First time the Cavaliers have been in the playoffs in a long time. They had to make a long trip down to Marion, and they're up at halftime. Short kickoff will get fielded on the 35-yard line. Looks like Donovan Montague. He's across the 45, now the 50. Couple stiff arms. Montague shifting in and out of tackles, now dropped around the 41-yard line. Colonels will start their first possession of the second half there. Game clock will continue to run here as Altavista's got the big margin. And Oscar, one of our old close friends, Lori Cox, the winner of Win with Subway. She's got herself a foot-long meal deal courtesy of Subways in Altavista. Former very talented athlete here from Altavista High School.
And worked at Subway.
Yes. But she doesn't work there anymore, so she's eligible to win. Don't worry, fans. We've cleared this with any promotional watchdog organizations. We're okay here, and congratulations to Lori Cox. Good hearing from her again. Handoff goes to Shaheem Pinnell. He breaks one tackle. He can't break the second tackle. Big-time gain, though, called a 19-yard pickup as he's dropped on the 21-yard line. Great way to start the first. It's a great way to start the first play of the second.
And the shoes fooled us. That wasn't Shaheem.
Wow.
It was Jonathan Montague.
Johnny Montague, number 23 in there. You're right. He is sporting the green shoes. We're used to Shaheem Pinnell having the green shoes on, so apologize to both of those two guys. Jacob Adams in there at quarterback for the Altavista Colonels. Here comes the shotgun snap on first down. They'll fake it to Montague. Adams going to keep it himself. Shakes off one tackler. He's across the 10, the 5. Touchdown, Altavista Colonels. Jacob Adams is in the end zone, and he is fired up about it. Great blocking on that left side by the Altavista Colonel O-line. Ethan Young there, the center, made a nice block as well. Solid team effort there to open up the third quarter. Altavista's in the end zone again. 55-0 is your Colonel lead now. Extra point on the way, Oscar.
And nice to see, Coach Sharness is doing his substitution and letting some of the underclassmen play, and that was a nice evasive move by Jacob Adams out on the edge, and nice job blocking downfield to get him in the end zone.
Looks like Chancellor Mormon on to hold. Nicholas Boley will do the kicking honors on the extra point here. We've seen Boley come in and make some extra points already this year. Snap is back. This kick's got plenty of distance. It's got the direction as well. Kick is good. Altavista, they lead 56-0, opening up the second half with a touchdown. 9:30 remaining here in the third quarter when you come back to 105.5 KD Country.
Hello, this is Mitch Haley, co-owner of Altavista Appliance Home and Lawn Center.
Hey, Paul Shelton here. Altavista Appliance Home and Lawn is now located in a completely renovated building at 606 7th Street, the old Alta Shoe Shop. We now have ample room to display all of our products. We're excited.
We value your service and will do whatever it takes to earn your business. With a new location and new business hours, we hope to see you in the near future. So come by and see us today at Altavista Appliance Home and Lawn Center at 606 7th Street, Altavista, Virginia.
Your station for high school sports play-by-play is 105.5 KD Country.
Jacob Adams into the end zone for the first time this season on the varsity level anyway. Touchdown there from 21 yards out on the rushing play. Gives Altavista Colonels a 56-0 lead. That and the Nick Boley extra point, Oscar.
And West Point coaches have got to be just absolutely befuddled.
Well, it's one of those things, if you coach long enough, you're going to have a situation like this, trust me. And Elizabeth Haney, one of our executive producers, one of the best sports psychologists I know of, she sent me some interesting quotes from old Iowa head coach Hayden Fry. I'll get to those in a second after the kickoff return. Chase Stewart's going to take it across the 19, now the 20. He is dragged down. And Hayden Fry, did I say Hayden Fox or Hayden Fry? Of course, Hayden Fox, of course, the old ball coach from the show. Coach, he would just look at Luther and Dauber and probably shrug his shoulders. He would have no answer for this right now. He would go home and complain to Christine, and that's how he would settle it. But Hayden Fry from Iowa, he said, we got to be realistic in a blowout. If we don't win, life will continue. That was a great line from Hayden Fry, and he's probably exactly right. You can learn a lesson from a loss. I don't know how much you learn from a blowout loss like this, but like I said, if you play or coach long enough, it's bound to happen at some point. I guess the way to handle it is to deal with it the right way. Running play here for West Point on first down. Yard pickup there before ball carriers hit by a number of Colonel defenders. Looked like they gave it to Stephen Farmer in on the stop there, along with Chancellor Mormon. Jonathan Montague in on that stop for the Colonels as well, trying to identify the ball carrier, Oscar. And as we mentioned early in the game, it's not exactly easy. I'm being told it was number 33, Clark Sibley there, senior, 6'2", 165 for the West Point Pointers. Pointers will have second and 9.5 coming up. 6:50 remaining in the Apple Market third quarter. Altavista leads 56-0.
Well, maybe that's why the Colonels have been so successful on defense tonight. They had 12 players on the field.
Colonels are going to get flagged for one too many men out there on the defense. Yeah,
and certainly if you're West Point, you got to feel that way.
You do. You know, we've heard about the old basketball thing. How do you simulate a really good zone press from a team like Dan River or something like that? And Coach Carlera would sometimes put 7 or 8 guys out there instead of 5, and you try and break a press against that. But, yes, sometimes I have a feeling opponents against Altavista do feel that way. First and 10 on the way from the 37-yard line. Handoff goes to number 25. That's Corey Smith. Spin move out of one tackle. Then he hits a big mass of bodies. Still on his feet. Colonel's jumping at the pile. Altavista had a full 9 guys in on that stop. Number 22, Jeremy Gregory jumping in off the bottom of the pile. Looked like Jonathan Montague in on that stop as well. Traquan Farmer, number 34. A lot of those same names that you hear. Number 9, Ty Woodruff was out there as well.
And Shaheem Pennell in the game now, not sporting the lime green shoes. It's curveball force. He's been wearing them all year.
I know, and we're not good at curveballs. We're not good at fastballs. We're not good at softballs, change-ups. So curveballs are the worst thing. 2nd and 5 coming up for West Point. Middle of the field 41-yard line, their own 41-yard line. Colonel showing blitz, handoff play again in the backfield. Ball is out. Ball is still out. It's loose. Colonel's trying to pick it up, and they do fall on it. It's number 20, Mateo Malbeck. He wasn't the first guy that got his hands on it, but he scraped it up, kept it from going out of bounds, and looks like he's going to have the possession for the Altavista Colonels, although there is a flag on the field. Let's get this sorted out and see what happens. Jamilion Jones may have actually been the guy that stripped it out. Pinnell was there. Montague was there. Big number 75, Randall Clark, was there for the Altavista Colonels. Penalty will go against Altavista.
And I just saw something I've never seen before. One of the West Point players picked up the flag, took it back to the huddle with him, and stuck it in his uniform.
Now, that is something I've never seen before. I've seen the player pick up the flag and give it back to the referee, which is a no-no. But apparently, this unnamed player from West Point wants to take a souvenir home with him.
I saw who it was.
In the form of the official's yellow flag.
I saw who it was.
Yeah,
and,
don't tell us
I'm not going to say who it was, but...
not that you could prosecute for that theft or anything, but it's certainly something that's got to be frowned upon.
I work with the official that took his flag, and he's out there talking to him. I say, okay, which one of you cats got my flag?
Oh, boy. Well, I hope they're laughing about it like we are. I think it really is kind of comical.
And he's telling the referee that one of the Altavista guys got it.
And I think West Point's going to get a big gain on the penalty there. Move this ball all the way down to the 44-yard line. We're trying to get things sorted out. We're not trying to make a comedy show out of it. But again,
that's hilarious. And kudos to the kid. Right. Kudos to the kid from West Point. I mean, it's pretty funny, folks. I mean, you're getting beat 56-0.
Well, what do you do if you're the official? You need the flag back. No official's going to carry a spare flag. I guess you can just throw the hat on every penalty like the officials do when they've already thrown a flag. But, yeah, they're still out there trying to sort it out. The officials are talking to the West Point players. I think they've snuffed it out. They suspect that it was somebody from West Point. And like you said, Oscar, you saw it. I don't think that official is ever going to get his flag back. You're right. That is something that probably I've never seen before. I guess he'll just have to throw his hat, Oscar, if there's a penalty. He's not going to get that flag back. Maybe that's a case where the official could use instant replay in a high school game. Handoff going to go to number 80, Dylan Jones. Jones going to pick up about 3 or 4 before he's flushed out of bounds there by the Altavista defense. I mean, honestly, could the official come up here to the film guy from Altavista and say, roll back the tape and let me look at that?
I'll tell you one thing. Again, I know this official. I work with him. He's a good friend of mine, and I'm going to give him the business come Monday.
That's going to be funny. Hey, did you ever get that flag back? I guess not. Anyway, we're having a good time. Not to make a mockery of the game here. There is still a football game going on. Altavista with the big lead, 56-0, 4:10 remaining in the Apple Market third quarter. But it is just something you don't see every day. Tight formation. They'll put a man in motion again. Ellis will keep it himself from the cornerback spot. Hit, slides down around the 35-yard line. Pickup of 4. They'll make it a manageable 3rd and 2 situation, I believe, depending on where the ball is spotted. They actually moved it back about a yard or so. 3:49 remaining now in the third quarter. 56-0 is your Altavista Colonel lead.
And nice little drive put together here by West Point, aided by the face mask penalty and the stolen flag.
Aided by the stolen flag. We had the Mud Bowl back in 2009 between these two teams. This may be known as the stolen flag game. Tight formation again, 2 wingbacks and 2 backs. Snap it to the up back. That's 25, Corey Smith. Thrown backwards for a loss by the Altavista Colonel defense. Stephen Farmer making the stop right there. It'll bring up 4th and 5 or 6 for West Point. Number 72, Ethan Young, was also making some headway on the defensive line there, getting in the Pointer backfield. Ball carrier was number 25, Corey Smith. He's gotten the bulk of the duty for West Point. He's going to stay in the backfield. Ellis, the quarterback there. They're going to go for it on 4th down. 4th and 6. 2:50 remaining in the third quarter. It's a 56-0 Altavista lead. Here comes the snap. They get it to Ellis, the quarterback. He's going to throw sideline, complete to 25. That's Corey Smith. He's short of the first down, though. 4-yard pickup there. He'll be short of the first down. This will be a turnover on downs. The Altavista defense with the stop right there. Hit him hard right at the 36-yard line. He needed to get to the 34. Dove ahead for an extra yard, but I mentioned still short. Altavista will take over. 2:17 remaining in the Apple Market third quarter. 56-0 is the Colonel lead.
Clock continues to run. Of course, we alluded to it earlier that the running clock's been instituted since really early in the second quarter.
Yeah, it was early in the second quarter. And, again, it's something that is supposed to be reserved for the second half. But the coaches can get together and talk about things. Jacob Adams is the quarterback for the Altavista Colonels. They've emptied the backfield. Snap will be 1st and 10 from the 35-yard line. Looked like there might have been some movement up front. Flags do come out now. They were going to run the wide receiver sweep, but that won't get a chance to get going. Penalty is against the Colonels. It'll make it 1st and 15 after the false start, Mr. Briggs.
And Altavista, Coach Sharness, Coach Revis, Coach Close, still coaching for all they're worth. You never know when some of these players are going to have to be called into action, and they want to ensure that they keep this thing clean, neat, and don't develop any bad habits as they move forward.
Well, that's right. You mentioned the habits. The Altavista Colonels coaching staff is in the habit of coaching and trying to make guys better with the praise, the encouragement, and then also the correction. And you're exactly right. They're doing the same thing right now. Man in motion again. Looks like they're going to try the same play. No, Adams will keep it himself. Not a whole lot of running room up the middle. Did get a small gain before he's stuffed back there by the West Point defensive line and linebacking crew. Call it a pickup of 4. Nearly gets it back to the line of scrimmage. In fact, Spot does get him right back there around the line of scrimmage. So we'll call it 2nd and 10. Apple Market third quarter coming to a close quickly, Oscar. And don't forget to stop by the Apple tonight after the game. Pick up everything you'll need to make your weekend great. It's cold out there. Grab a cup of coffee or something.
Man, I didn't even notice that they'd pulled the 25-second clock. So
you're right. Handoff play on the sweep is going to go to number 28, Chancellor Mormon. Mormon's going down far sideline. Flushed out of bounds around the 48-yard line. He kept running for about 10 yards after that, so it's hard to tell where he went out. They spotted at the 48. First down yardage picked up, though, by Chancellor Mormon. Big shout-out to the Mormon family. Remember,
that's right.
They stopped us in the parking lot a couple weeks ago and said, hey, we listen to you guys all the time. You do a great job. Third quarter will come to a close on that Chancellor Mormon carry. Altavista still got a big lead. 56-0 is the score right now over West Point. Fourth quarter on the way when you come back to 105.5 KD Country.
Life happens, divorce, family problems, criminal charges, civil litigation, personal injury cases. Turn to David W. Shreve, an experienced attorney at law. David W. Shreve has been practicing law for 30-plus years. Free consultation for personal injury cases. Call today, 369-6621, 369-6621. David W. Shreve. Good luck to the Altavista football team in the playoffs. Go Colonels. David W. Shreve, located 7th Street, Altavista.
Here's more award-winning high school sports with Kyle and Oscar on 105.5 KD Country.
Apple Market fourth quarter underway here from English Stadium, Altavista High School. Colonels flip the field. They're going right to left now, Oscar, but I have a feeling they're still wanting to get into the end zone. Snap goes back to Adams. Design running play off right tackle. Adams is across the 50. Sidesteps his way across the 45. Goes backwards for a moment. Now he's across the 40. Stiff arm. He's across the 30. Still on his feet to the 20. Hit hard out of bounds around the 15-yard line. Long running play there from Jacob Adams.
And Jacob Adams says, I'll do my Juan Thornhill imitation. I'm a magic man in training.
Hey.
A novice, an apprentice.
Adams has certainly got the talent. Very good player. Jake Adams is a
ninth grader.
I was going to say 6 foot, 160-pound ninth grader for these Altavista.
And we're familiar with the Adams family. Let's face it. Not that Adams family.
I know. We're familiar with them, too. But, yeah, older brother Ricky, obviously one of the all-time great quarterbacks in Colonel history. He was a big part of that 09 championship run. Handoff this time goes to number 20, Mateo Malbeck. Malbeck turns it up. He's across the 10, the 5. Ball pops loose. Looks like the Colonels have recovered on around the 3 or 4 yard line. Don't know who fell on it. Try and find a number there.
And just when we thought we'd seen it, he almost had another Malbeck touchdown.
You're right.
I thought we were done with Malbeck touchdowns for the night.
Fumble looked like it might have been recovered by Mateo. It was either him or Chancellor Mormon. Mateo is number 20. Chancellor Mormon is number 28. And Jeremy Gregory is number 22. All those numbers look very similar. I'm being informed by public address announcer Terry Brown that it was Jeremy Gregory. Good play there. Handoff this time going to go to Johnny Montague. Montague, not a whole lot of running room. He's close to that goal line, but he got stuff short of it. They'll spot this on about the 2. Might have gained a yard. Not a whole lot of running there on the inside for Jonathan Montague.
And if there's any doubt about this, look at the starters.
Mm-hmm.
They want these kids to score. They are excited for them. Really want these kids. They really want these guys to score.
Yeah, those seniors and those upperclassmen, those starters, they're pulling hard for these young guys. Substitutions getting made out there for the Altavista Colonels. Might be in a little bit of disarray. I don't know if they'll have to burn a timeout or not.
I would look at the 25-second clock, but it's gone. It's been jacked.
Put the play clocks up early. Yeah, hopefully they weren't stolen like that one official's flag was. Here comes the play. Jacob Adams in there, still at quarterback, 2nd and goal. Ball gets snapped. Adams was trying to move his running back around a little bit. The running back is number 75, Randall Clark. Yes, the big man, Randall Clark, has entered into the backfield. False start on Altavista, though, so Randall's going to have to wait a second. 9:15 remaining in the game. Altavista up 56-0.
And that may have been part of the reason for the excitement from the Colonel's sideline, is knowing that Clark was going to get that carry.
Randall Clark, of course, listed as an offensive and defensive lineman. He's 6'1", 262. You've heard Coach Sharnes mention when he's talking about the seniors, Randall Clark, really one of the strongest guys on the team. He's set up behind Jacob Adams now. Altavista looks like they're not on the same snap count again. Adams was calling for the football. It never came out. This time, penalties against West Point, though, actually.
Wow.
So it's going to move Altavista back up 5 yards, spot this around the 2.
And after a relatively clean first half, we're seeing flags fly everywhere.
And one of those referees doesn't even have a flag to throw. So it's incredible, folks. Here we go. Randall Clark set up behind Jacob Adams again. 2nd and goal from the 2-yard line. Here comes the snap. They turn. They give it to Randall Clark. He's hitting the backfield. Never really got going. The West Point D line.
They knew the deal.
That. They did know the deal. When you see a guy with a 70 number lined up in the backfield, sort of a refrigerator Perry type situation, you got to figure they're going to hand it off to him. Clark's going to come out for a breather. We'll see if he gets another chance to run it in. Donovan Montague, one of the first guys out there to greet him. And again, Clark really couldn't get going. West Point was in the backfield as he was getting the football. Jonathan Montague in there at tailback now. They'll toss it to him. He's going to go wide to the left, trying to outrace the defense to the end zone. He does. Touchdown, Jonathan Montague. And the Altavista Colonels are in one more time. 7:40 remaining in the ball game is when that score comes. Nice little drive put together there by the Altavista Colonels. We'll make our score 62-0. Extra point on the way. I completely forgot about those shout-outs in the excitement there, Oscar. I wonder if people are still tuned in. Wide margin here, but there's still good reason to listen to these Colonel broadcasts, right? You never know when a referee's flag might get stolen or something.
That was hilarious.
That was hilarious.
And just to say it, there was a face mask penalty. There was a face mask and a fumble, and everybody was clamoring for the fumble and seeing who was going to recover. More on it in just a minute. As Boley looks like he drills the extra point through for a 63-0 lead. And as everybody was clamoring to see who got the ball, the official had thrown the flag down. The player from West Point comes over, grabs the flag off, runs back to the huddle, sticks it down in his pants. How hilarious.
It is hilarious. It is something you'd see on an episode of Coach or maybe even the Three Stooges or something like that. And like I said, not trying to make a mockery of the game, but it was funny.
And I'm going to give you a little advance warning. I'm going to tell you who it is, and he's my player of the game for West Point. I'm telling you right now.
So that's why we're going to stick around. All right, we'll keep it here. We missed the timeout on that when Colonels are set to kick off again. How about some shout-outs, huh? Again, everybody out there in West Point, if you're listening, you tuned us in, we appreciate it. No, the game didn't go the way you wanted it to, but Pointers have had a good season. I think probably another good year on the basketball court coming up for West Point. They're one of those teams that's always around and dangerous. We had some people checking in on Facebook last week. Stan Finch down in Myrtle Beach, S.J. Watts in Delaware. We already talked about the Altavista Golf Crew down there in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Dan Kaufman, another golfer we know and love, he tunes in. Doris Robinson, Ben Robertson, What about old Sam Whiteside over there across the pond in England, Oscar? He tunes in a lot, and you said your sister's over there as well. She gives us a listen.
Yeah,
We're global. We told you you're global. We told you that we are global. You might not have believed us. Walker Allen on to kick off again. This one going to land on about the 10-yard line. Looks like Chase Stewart again on the return. He's grabbed all of them, it feels like. He gets it to the 20, and he's met with a Colonel Resistance crew there and stopped after a decent little gain. Who else we got? We got Mr. Phillips, who's out there on that John Deere tractor somewhere. I hope he's not out this late at night on the tractor. And everybody, of course, all our sponsors. I know Feller Chevrolet excited about the playoffs. They had a big display set up out there, and that whole gang, Kay and Steven and Greg Walker and all the guys. We love that whole crew.
Hey, and the Colonels live to fight another day. They will host the winner of the William Campbell Central Lunenburg game next Friday.
Yep, trying to get some scores as we speak. Subway post-game show will be the perfect time to find all that. We'll wrap this one up. Tell you a little bit about who the Colonels have got and some other area games as well. 1st and 10 for West Point. Bad snap is going to have to get pulled down by, I believe, number 80, Dylan Jones. He's going to make the most out of what he had, which was literally nothing after the bad snap. Might have got a 1-yard pickup. It was actually made by Trayvon Clark.
We've seen all kind of stuff going on. We've seen stolen flags. We've seen interception punt returns, clock operator doing PA announcing, PA announcer running the clock. What hadn't we seen tonight?
Well, like you said, we've seen a little bit of everything. Handoff play is going to go to the up back this time, or perhaps it was a direct snap on that funky little modified single wing that West Point runs. Short pickup will actually make it 3rd and about 2, so it wasn't so short of a pickup. Good spot right there. Randall Clark making the stop. Also number 50, Coleman Teagarden there, helping out for the Altavista Colonels. A lot of names that we've mentioned tonight. You're right. We've seen some excitement offensively, some excitement defensively, stolen flags, people jumping in, helping out. Fun night tonight. Not as much fun for the West Point Pointers, but again, they got nothing to hang their heads about. Man in motion is Chase Stewart. Football on the ground again. Let's see who fell on it. I believe the quarterback, William Ellis, was able to pull it back in for West Point. It's going to make it 4th and about 5. I don't know if you're Coach L.C. Briggs here. Do you go for it? You're trailing 63-0. That's a tough call. I mean,
the punting game has not been good tonight.
Yeah.
The one punt that he really caught, Michi took to the house.
Right. One block, one return for a touchdown. The other one's not very good. I think West Point's lining up to go for it. And again, can't really say that I blame them. They do trail 63-0, but sort of a backyard football affair now. Might as well go for it on 4th down. Ellis still in there at the quarterback spot in the low crouch. They're going to snap it to him. No, they snap it to the up back. I believe it's the big man, 25, Corey Smith again. I think he got enough for a 1st down. Yes, he does.
And kudos. Coach Briggs' team continues to fight, continues to try to advance the ball.
I like Corey Smith. He is a big man, 5'11", 240-pound senior. His career going to wrap up tonight. But, yeah, I like that call by Coach Briggs there. Snap it to your senior. You got a 4th down. See if he can pick it up. He does. It'll keep the chains moving a little bit longer. Under 2 minutes to go now in this Apple Market 4th quarter. Altavista still with the big lead, 63-0. It looks like it's going to be the 6th shutout of the year for the Colonels. Of course, West Point could still score here. 1st and 10, middle of the field from the 31-yard line. Short, tight formation again. This time it is a passing play. Ellis spins around, wants to throw deep, looking down the sideline. Ball hangs up. Ball falls incomplete. A Colonel defender got his hands on it, and then also Chase Stewart, number 7, got his hands on it. That was number 20, Mateo Malback, helping with the deflection there for Altavista. Update from Central Lunenburg, William Campbell. The home team, Central Lunenburg, has pulled ahead 28-21. Still in the 3rd quarter there, though. A lot of football to be played. That one may not be done by the time the Subway postgame show wraps up, Oscar, because no running clock out there in a game that close.
Kyle, last year the Colonels ran up 62 points twice, once against Randolph Henry and once against Northumberland. They also had 67 against Nelson last year, but this is the most points they've scored this year.
Right, most points they've scored in a while. Running play here for the Pointers. 5-yard pickup as the ball carrier thrown to the turf.
They may get one more play off. We're under 35 seconds here. And
Dylan Jones on the carry that time for the Pointers. I'm sorry, I got a little distracted. Traquan Farmer will get credit for the tackle for the Colonels. 8-yard pickup, going to make it 3rd and 1. You're right, West Point may get one last play off. It looks like they're huddling up. Going to get that play in. 13 seconds now to go in the ball game. They may not get it off if they don't hurry. They're breaking the huddle slowly. Doesn't look like they're in any big effort to try and... Now they do want to snap it. We're down to 1 second. They're not going to get it off. Football game is over. They snapped it, but the clock stopped. The clock was already down to 0. Altavista, big victory here tonight in the first round of the playoffs, 63-0. They beat the West Point Pointers. Join us for the Subway postgame show on the way when you come back to 105.5 KD Country.
English is
so much more.
English is
More than a hardware store.
English is.
My friends may call me the perfectionist, but at English's Building Supply, my neighborhood Davis paint dealer, they greet me by name. You see, I like to get things done exactly right, especially when it comes to my many painting projects. So I'm at English's Building Supply a lot, whether it's mixing the perfect Davis paint for my project or offering great incentives. They do business just the way I like it. Perfectly. English's on North Main Street, Altavista.
A short drive will save you money.
In the market for a new Chevrolet? Fellers Chevrolet.
FellersDirect.com.
For a huge selection of new Chevrolets and pre-owned vehicles, it's Fellers Chevrolet.
FellersDirect.com.
FellersDirect.com. Selection. Convenience. Fellers Chevrolet.
Fellers Chevrolet.
Always open and only a click away.
FellersDirect.com. A short drive will save you money. Fellers Chevrolet in Altavista.
In the past century, our community has grown, and Finch & Finch Funeral and Cremation Service has grown too, alongside the families they've known for so long. Finch & Finch is proud to have served you over 100 years. A family business, Finch & Finch Funeral and Cremation Service, dedicated to your service.
Finch and Finch Funeral Homes. We're here because we care.
More live high school sports action on 105.5 KD Country.
Subway postgame show has arrived. You always arrive in style when you head to Subway. Main Street in Altavista, of course, into Walmart on the Clarion Road. Start fresh this fall with the Subway Fresh Fit choices. Smart and tasty choices make fall the perfect time to start fresh, Oscar. I hope we didn't just skip right over fall, because it certainly feels like wintertime out there right now. Colonels get the big victory, 63-0 over West Point. Altavista had everything go their way, and like I said, I've said it before, it may be a little bit harder to recap it than some other games because there was so much scoring. But the Colonels, bottom line is, get the result they want in the first round of the VHSL playoffs here over West Point. And we saw a lot of excitement, a lot of fun things. Oscar and I will break that all down. We'll tell you a little bit more about Subway. And, of course, Subway introducing the Big Hot Pastrami Melt, big enough to share. Oscar did not share his with me last week. But
and you know what? If I get it next week,
still
I'm not going to share it again.
Going to make me get my own, huh?
Well, it's just because you always get two of whatever you get.
That hurts. Hey now, I like Subway. I like to get a lot. I like to eat a lot. I like to get 2 cookies. Raspberry cheesecake's what I prefer. Let's step aside, get our thoughts together, and really get the Subway postgame show started in earnest. Altavista, 63-0, a winner over the West Point Pointers. You heard it all live on 105.5 KD Country.
This month's specials from your area Apple Market convenience stores. Hickory smoked sausage biscuits, 2 for $2.20. That's a good deal. Large coffee and fresh baked donut or Mrs. Freshly snack cake, just $1.99. And all meat jumbo hot dogs and a 32-ounce drink and chips for $2.99. Slim Jim Giant Sticks, 2 for $2 at the Apple Market convenience stores, Riverside, Gateway, Main Street, and Altavista. You know what they say, stop by an Apple today.
Good food, low prices, and great service keep customers coming back for more day after day at El Cazador Mexican Restaurant in Altavista. El Cazador is now open all afternoon, so you can come by anytime, any day, 11 a.m. till 10 p.m. El Cazador Mexican Restaurant, a great place to unwind and relax with friends. Open 7 days a week, Main Street, Altavista. El Cazador thanks you for your business. English Construction Company has been in the building business since 1909, so it's only natural that they appreciate the building process. They recognize the fact that organized sports programs build character as well as bodies and minds. They know that high school sports build our youth into more well-rounded and more productive adults. English Construction Company is proud to be a sponsor of high school sports and salute all athletes, coaches, and teachers. A word of praise and encouragement from English Construction Company with offices in Lynchburg.
Virginia's oldest and most experienced bus company, Sunny Merriman Incorporated, along with their employees and families, joined together to congratulate the Altavista High School athletic teams for their outstanding fall seasons. Sunny Merriman wishes you the best in the playoffs and your quest to bring home more state championship trophies to our community. Go Colonels and make us proud. Sunny Merriman Incorporated.
Back to the press box for high school sports on 105.5 KD Country.
Subway post-game show rolls on. Altavista, a 63-0 winner. Highview highlights will be on the way soon enough. We already did win with Subway. Lori Cox was our winner tonight. Congratulations to her. She's going to enjoy that foot-long meal deal courtesy of Subway's in Altavista. And, of course, you can win. If you're one of those out-of-town people, you could win and then say, hey, I'd like to give it to, donate it to my favorite play-by-play man, Kyle Haney, or something like that. I'm just joking.
Or Dave Mabry, he'd take it.
Dave Mabry would take a free sub. And the whole meal deal, too, bag of chips or a couple cookies and drinks. Anyway, we digress here, Oscar. Let's talk about some of that exciting stuff. Most of it was in the first half, but the Colonels did do some scoring in the second half there. And we already mentioned the two big boppers for Altavista tonight, Juan Thornhill and Michi Malback. They accounted for 3 touchdowns apiece in 3 different ways, no less. Rather exciting on that end. Destin Brown got the whole party started, though, after the Michi Malback interception return on defense. 4-yard carry from Destin got him into the end zone. There was a block punt by Donovan Montague. Then Juan Thornhill had a 2-yard touchdown run. Scoring kept rolling on as Juan Thornhill threw a touchdown pass to Darius Johnson. Once again, hard to believe just Darius Johnson's first touchdown reception of the year.
Yeah, that's the stat of the night for me.
It is.
Because I thought for certain he had gotten in.
I thought he had, too. Juan Thornhill has now thrown 10 passing TDs on the year. And like I said, he's spread them all out nicely because I think he threw touchdown passes in 7 different games leading up to this. Anyway, back to the recap, the scoring. Michi Malback made it 28-0 with a 24-yard touchdown run. That was all in the first quarter, folks. Apple Market second quarter featured some exciting things, too. Michi Malback with a 44-yard punt return. That made it 35-0. Juan Thornhill then got in on the act from a receiving spot as he scored on a 35-yard touchdown reception. Donovan Montague doing the honors on the touchdown pass. That's Juan Thornhill's second receiving touchdown of the year. Donovan Montague has thrown both his touchdown passes to Juan, and then a 65-yard interception return as Oscar corrected me so lovingly. He said, Michi Malback, that was more like 65 yards on the interception return for a touchdown. That was the first half scoring for Altavista.
Yeah, and just got a great stat from Dave Mabry, and 8 first-team offensive plays and 5 touchdowns on those 8 plays. So last week at William Campbell, they had 8 plays and there were 4 touchdowns. So this, in addition to the stifling defense, the offense continues to just put up gaudy numbers. Yeah, the biggest output of the year.
Absolutely. It's really incredible what that first-team offense does in not a lot of time, not a lot of opportunities. That's efficiency defined right there from an offensive scoring perspective. Colonels did get in the end zone a couple times in the second half, rushing TD from Jonathan Montague and also one from Jacob Adams. And, hey, I think it's time for some more highlights. The Highview highlights, we had some good ones in the first half. Wouldn't hurt to hear those again. Our sound engineer, Eleanor Haney, she loves the Highview highlights. We love them, too. Let's hear them now. Brought to you by Highview Motors, GMC. From small to tall, Highview has it all. Shotgun formation, 2 receivers to each side for the Colonels. Thornhill's going to run it himself, diving for the end zone, and he's in. Another touchdown for Thornhill, another touchdown for the Altavista Colonels. Right side, they'll snap this one right hash mark. Juan Thornhill, roll out pass, looking deep. He's got Darius Johnson wide open, complete on the 12-yard line. Darius is in for a touchdown. And this kick is better, too. It'll hang up high in the air. Maulback's going to get a chance to return. Fields on the 44-yard line, starts left, now going right. Big block from Devontae Clark. Maulback's across the 20, the 10, the 5. Another big block downfield from Traquan Farmer. Michi Maulback, touchdown, a 44-yard punt return for the Altavista Colonel. Cornerback's given about a 10-yard cushion. Montague going to throw. He's got it complete to Thornhill at the 25. Juan makes one guy miss, running across the 20. Now he goes upfield across the 10, the 5. Touchdown, Juan Thornhill with a receiving touchdown. So he runs one, he throws one, he catches one. What can't the Magic Man do? Juan Thornhill with a 35-yard touchdown reception from fellow senior Donovan Montague.
No one knows trucks like we know trucks. Come see us and you'll agree. From small to tall, we've got it all. Highview Motors, GMC. Come on in. Bring the family. See your friends at Highview Motors. Highview Motors, GMC. From small to tall, we've got it all. Highview Motors, GMC.
If you're like me, life changes, and that brings up financial questions. I'm Vivian Brown of First National Bank, and we're excited to offer a new financial answer center that will help you better understand your own needs. It covers various financial topics, offers free quick guides, and if needed, access to a First National Bank employee. So go to our website at 1stnatbk.com and take a look at the new Financial Answer Center. It's a smart resource that could help you bring home more bacon. First National Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Apple Auto Glass is your windshield repair and replacement center in Lynchburg. You get a free car wash with all windshields replaced in the shop. Apple Auto Glass wants the fans to enjoy the boys of fall this high school football season.
When I feel that chill, smell that fresh cut grass, I'm back in my helmet, cleats, and shoulder pads, where the boys of fall.
Apple Auto Glass salutes the boys of fall.
Your high school sports station with award-winning coverage on 105.5 KD Country.
Subway postgame show returns here as Oscar Briggs and I discussing the subtle nuances of potential Colonel opponents. It's either going to be William Campbell or Central Lunenburg, and it looks like the Central Lunenburg Chargers, as they are known, has gone up 35-21 over William Campbell. Still some time left in that ball game, according to Bob Alvis. They're still in the third quarter, so anything can happen. We know the Generals can certainly strike quickly. That game not over yet, but other scoring updates. Dan River up 21-14 over Buckingham. Oscar. Of course, our friends, the Appomattox Raiders, are playing tomorrow against Lee County. That's all the way down there in the most western part of the state. It's quicker for Lee County to get to Missouri than it is to get to Virginia Beach. Can you believe that? True statement.
I believe that, and you know, that's one of the reasons that Appomattox moved that game to tomorrow, but just due to the travel distance that Lee County had to come from.
Yeah, Lee County on the map, further west than Detroit, Michigan. How about let that geography fact sink in there a little bit, Bob Alvis? That gets a wow from Oscar Briggs. Guess what? William Campbell's pulled and made it a little bit closer. They're down 35-27 now over Central Lunenburg. Jefferson Forest, the other undefeated regular season team in the area, they lead 29-15 over Loudoun County. We'll get some more scores as we roll on here from our dear friend and colleague Bob Alvis. Christiansburg up 13-12 over Heritage. That's what the Subway post-game show's all about, keeping you informed, having a good time. And again, big or small, Subway can cater your party. Boxed lunches, sandwich platters, cookie trays. The options are endless. Call Robert, 369-2366. Let Subway handle your next event. We're handling things just fine here. We're going to bring it all back with a few more scores. Chris Owen Good Hands Award Player of the Game time will be along after that. And maybe we'll have a final from out there in Lunenburg. I'm guessing maybe not, though. Still about 10 minutes to go. But we'll do our best to keep you updated and talk about potential situations for the Colonels next week tomorrow. It's the Subway pregame show, or Subway postgame show. I'm sorry, how many times can a man screw that up? Altavista, they didn't screw up much tonight. Pitching another shutout, 63-0 over West Point. Quick timeout here on 105.5 KD Country.
Altavista High School football is brought to you by Steve Farmer Auto Sales. Steve Farmer Auto Sales, where there's always a good selection of cars, trucks, and SUVs, and they're priced right with financing available. See Steve Farmer Auto Sales, 1112 Main Street, Altavista. Steve Farmer Auto Sales, best deals on wheels.
Hello, this is Mitch Haley, co-owner of Altavista Appliance Home and Lawn Center. We are proud to announce that we have moved to our newly renovated location at 606 7th Street, the old Altavista Shoe Shop building. We pride ourselves on service and want to do whatever it takes to earn your business. With a full-time appliance and lawn equipment technician, we will be here for you when you need us. We service all major brands of lawn equipment and most major brands of appliances. So come by and see us today at Altavista Appliance Home and Lawn Center, 606 7th Street, Altavista, Virginia.
Life happens, divorce, family problems, criminal charges, civil litigation, personal injury cases. Turn to David W. Shreve, an experienced attorney at law. David W. Shreve has been practicing law for 30-plus years. Free consultation for personal injury cases. Call today, 369-6621, 369-6621. David W. Shreve. Good luck to the Altavista football team in the playoffs. Go Colonels. David W. Shreve, located 7th Street, Altavista.
Unfortunately, I have some bad news.
How bad is it, Doctor?
We've done all we can. Your heat pump's not gonna make it.
Oh, no.
Honey, it's going to be okay. We'll call Select Air Mechanical and Electrical, 332-2600. With over 60 years experience, they'll have us comfortable again in no time.
I recommend Select Air to all my patients. Call 332-2600 or visit selectairmechanical.com. They can handle all your home comfort needs, and they're an authorized trained dealer. It's hard to stop a train.
Your high school sports station with award-winning coverage on 105.5 KD Country.
Subway post-game show. Yes, post-game show. I'm going to get that right eventually, Oscar. There's going to be a game where I don't screw that up.
That's right. It's that time. It's time for the Chris Owen
player of the game. Chris Owen player of the game time. Did I put my West Point roster away? I hope not. I know who I'm going to pick, but I just wanted to have it available for you here. And again, any of you people that listen to us in Gay-Lax, we know we got some fans out there in Gay-Lax. I've seen the data. We got some fans in Rancho Cucamonga, California, Oscar.
Hey.
Can you believe that?
Yeah, I believe it.
Beverly Hills, too. We're high class out there.
Marks Corner, South Carolina.
They're all over.
We're everywhere.
They're worldwide. My pick for the player of the game, again, brought to you by Chris Owen, your All-State agent in Lynchburg. Like I'm saying, he's in Lynchburg. He's going to get you a great deal no matter where you are, though. Give him a call. Find him on the internet. He'll help you out. I'm going with the big man, number 25, Corey Smith. He's a senior. I like the way he ran the football. Like I said, 241. It's a rare breed as a back, especially at single A. Anywhere. You don't find many NFL running backs at 241. I like what Corey Smith did. I know what Oscar's going to go with.
I'm going dual purpose.
Okay.
I'm going to go. Chase Stewart had the ball in his hand a ton.
Yeah.
Took a ton of contact. So, along with him, number 55, Griff Lee, who had one of the funnier moves I've ever seen on a football field, to come in the middle of the field and snatch the referee's flag and get away with it. I think it's classic. So
any young men or women out there considering a career in football, KD Country does not condone you taking the flag. I know Oscar's laughing about it. It was good. Oscar is a fan of the hijinks and the mischief out there. He's like a Looney Tunes episode himself. He likes that kind of stuff. Plus, he knows the official. If you didn't hear that part, he's going to be able to give him a hard time about it. But yeah, those Oscar's opinions are not the same as KD Country. Kids out there, we don't want you to think that that's okay. You can't steal. Should have at least given it back here. Let's see. Dean Hubbard's on location. Did you get the flag back, Mr. Hubbard? No comment. I'm just going to say no comment from Dean Hubbard. The William Campbell-Lunenburg game is getting a little bit closer, folks. 35-33 now, Central Lunenburg leading the Generals. probably too far of a drive for anybody in the Altavista area to hop over to Lunenburg really quick and get to Victoria is actually where you'll find Central Lunenburg. But we digress. We still got to do our players of the game for Altavista. Colonel's side, you want me to go first?
No, I'm going first.
Go ahead.
Again, you've been putting it to me all year, and I'm going first. Michi Malbach tonight. Boy, he put his stamp on this game early, and he put it on it often. So, no question, the way he scored, punt return, interception, it's Michi Malbach.
Yeah, found the end zone in 3 different ways. I like that. Since you picked Michi, I was going to actually do a thing, but you picked Michi. I'll pick Juan. Juan also scored in 3 different ways. He threw a touchdown pass, caught a touchdown pass, and he ran a touchdown pass. And to boot, Oscar, both of those guys very impressive on the defensive side, as always. So, like we said, we don't have a final from William Campbell just yet, or from Lunenburg, actually. William Campbell in town taking on the Chargers, but we can't stay on all night, unfortunately, and give you a final. So you have to listen to KD Country all week. We'll let you know who Altavista is going to play.
And something, again, that we can't do without is our sponsors.
Yep.
And for First National Bank, focus on providing an extraordinary customer experience. Altavista Appliance, your appliance, home, lawn, and garden center. Visit them in their new location on 7th Street. Finch & Finch Funeral and Cremation Services, a family serving families since 1905. Apple Markets, check out their weekly specials at all area locations. Fellers Chevrolet, where a short drive will save you money. David W. Shreve, when life happens, call David Shreve, attorney at law. El Cazador Mexican Restaurant, a great place for family and friends to dine. English Building Supply, your complete home center and Davis Paint Center. Highview Motors GMC, from small to tall, Highview has it all. Sonny Merriman, Virginia's bus company, sales, service, and parts. Apple Auto Glass, get a free car wash when you have a new windshield installed. Select Air Mechanical and Electrical, your authorized train dealer. It's hard to stop a train. Steve Farmer Auto Sales, best deals on wheels. English Construction, wishing our high school athletes an exciting and injury-free game. Of course, live internet broadcast at kdcountry.com is brought to you by Chris Owen, your Allstate agent in Lynchburg. Go online and search for Chris Owen today. Football fans are always in good hands with Allstate agent Chris Owen. Pre-game show, of course, is brought to you by Subway with 2 locations in Altavista, Main Street, and inside Walmart. For Kyle Haney, this is Oscar Briggs. Join us next week as the Altavista Colonels are at home. Pre-game at 6:30. Kickoff at 7 against opponent to be named. Thanks for listening. KDE 105.5 KD Country.